Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to live coverage of Club 100 and the Sprints Championship here at Whilton Mill for round 2 of the 2021 season. My name is Andrew Mather. Alongside me in the commentary box is Howard Mitchell from Double Dash Motorsport Media. As we mentioned, we're at Whilton Mill, just outside Northampton and Daventry, on this great circuit, 12 turns, 1.2 kilometres. A classic circuit here on the Club 100 calendar, a regular favourite for many of our drivers. A little bit mixed in terms of weather conditions here today. We have had some spots of rain over the lunch break, but mostly it is sunny, a little bit cloudy, light showers expected over the course of the afternoon. In terms of a running order for today, we've already had our heavyweights competition out this morning. If you want to go and watch that back, you can. Make sure you're subscribed to the Alpha Live YouTube channel for all the information on that front. But as we say, we've had the lunch break and we are shortly heading into the lightweights competition, which will form 12 heats, kicking off from around 2:15, forming into our then 3 finals, C, B and A finals later on in the afternoon. So that's the format of today. Let's have a little look at this Whilton Mill circuit, as we say, a regular on the Club 100 calendar and a regular for us here at Alpha Live and DDMM. Let's have a little look at the challenge ahead of the drivers here this afternoon. So, a lap of Whilton Mill on board here with Alistair Irvine from Warwick University, heading on to the pit straight then for the first corner, which is Oblivion. A fast left-hander immediately leads into a fast right-hander known as the Crook, then a slight kink up the hill through Fine Lady. So try and take as much of that curve as possible, thread the needle through the Crook and then get on the power hard as you head up towards Christmas Corner, one of the best chances to overtake around this Whilton Mill circuit, and crucial to get the exit of this corner right as we go through what we're calling Boxing Day, the corner after Christmas, and then Inkermans. We're on the international layout today, so Inkermans is a flat right. Very tricky braking for Ashby Corner, Ashby hairpin downhill, gravity working against you, and make sure you get onto the circuit again before the grass. And then we get into the technical part of this circuit. These 2 left-handers. You can do overtakes through these corners, definitely here into Osiers. You've got to be committed on the inside to make sure it's a clean move and watch out for the cones and tyres on the outside. Onto the back straight and into the boot. Another great chance to overtake and get a move done, especially if it's late on in the race. Into the initial part, take as much of that curve as you can through the toe of the boot. And again, carry that speed through into the final corner. Watch out for the big curve on the inside and track limits on the outside. That's a lap of Whilton Mill International. So moving into the lightweights competition. As we say, moving into the lightweights competition. The practice session ongoing at the moment. Here's how lightweights are going to kick off here today. Andrew Ward will have pole position for the first heat. Matt Collier alongside him on the front row. Christopher Powell and Rob Langthorpe will start their day from row number 2. Alistair Irvine and Rogerio Mendez on row number 3. Bailey Morgan and James Martin start Heat 1 from row number 4. Andrew Rabbage and Callum Brule, who knows this place very, very well, are on row 5. Archie Hobson and Ramanas Sakauskas are on row number 6. Adam Wheeldon and James Browning start from the middle of the pack there on row 7. Matthew Cliff and Matthew Cockerham are on row 8. And then Ross O'Brien and Russell Cooper are on row number 9. Luke Dunnett and Liam Rogers on row 10, 20 karts in the field for the first race. If this is your first time tuning in for the sprints, or you need a little bit of a recap because it's the start of a new season, all of these heats, 12 of them in total, each driver will race 3 times And essentially, if you're in C1 and C2 classes, which we'll come on to more in a minute, there's your current weather forecast. Let's say drizzle in the air, 11 degrees. So it's not overly cold. As we say, little bit of precipitation in the air, which is going to mix things up this afternoon. But the heats format, as we say, each driver competes in 3 races. So if you're following a particular driver, and I did not read their name out in that grid, don't worry. We're just waiting for them to come out in one of the later heats. But essentially, you start 1 from the front, 1 from the middle, and 1 from the back. All drivers in classes C1 and C2 have the same average grid position. And we should mention the C3s as well, which is our novice class. This works in a very similar principle to cadet racing in owner racing in Motorsport UK sanctioned events. If you're a C3 driver, a little bit less experienced, you will start your heats in a C3 mini grid at the back of the field. And again, across your 3 races, you'll start one of your C3 mini grids from the front, 1 from the middle, 1 from the back. The idea behind that is we don't want to put new drivers, less experienced, getting up to speed right in the midst of all the big boys as they battle it out at the front of the field. And it's a system that works pretty well. Out on circuit at the moment is a practice session, so don't worry, you're not missing any competitive action, but for what it's worth, I can tell you that Tom Dix is currently the fastest driver in this session on the 53.610, Darry Sims second, also on a 53.6, and Jonah Barker third. As you say, we have had a little bit of rain during the lunch break, but not enough to completely wetten the circuit. Lap times are still very, very quick. And at this moment, I'll reintroduce back onto the stream my DDMM partner in crime, Mr. Howard Mitchell. Howard, how was your lunch break?
Oh, it was lovely, thank you, mate. Yeah, it was really good. Good to talk to a few people around the paddock as well and stuff. But yeah, hello Andrew, hello everybody. Thank you for joining us for this round 2 in our Club 100 Sprints Championship. And I will reiterate what I said this morning. It is so good to be back streaming Club 100 Sprints again. So thank you very much to everyone who's tuning in. Do please get your comments coming in. The interaction this morning was great to have. Please do keep them coming in. I'm going to give an early shout out here actually to Sam Stevens, who says, afternoon Alpha Live and DDMM team. Afternoon, Sam. Here to watch the former Warwick boys, Alistair, Archie and Callum while on a revision break. Yes, that is a very interesting aspect of today, isn't it, actually?
I think most of them, if not all of them, are in this first heat.
Yeah, indeed. We've got, so there's Alistair
starting from 5th. Callum Brule as well.
Yeah.
Did we mention Callum?
Yeah,
yes,
we mentioned Callum.
Sorry.
Yeah, and Archie Hobson, presumably.
So, yeah, Callum's in there starting 10th and Archie just behind him in 11th.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad to report, considering we're talking Warwick, because it's been a little bit windy at times this weekend. There are no gazebos near the circuit.
Nope.
Or up against the barrier, I should say.
There's a massive marquee behind the building in the shot.
Behind the Whilton Mill clubhouse, which is part of their
dining outside setup.
But that is well pinned down. It is not going to fly away.
No.
It is not going to cause JV to have to red flag a start, as we may have had, which Warwick will remember at the ABkC a few years ago.
Yes. There's also no Red Bull arches that you can crash into here. There's no... I'm trying to think of any other hazards. We've had plenty over the years. There's no wood chips that you can collect.
We have got 3 Warwick drivers in this next
we do,
race.
Yes.
So
we do. And
we're not completely, risk-free.
For those of you who watched our heavyweights this morning, this will be perhaps a bit of a repetition, the next thing I want to say, though, but track limits and monster curb. Track limits.
Don't touch the monster curb.
And monster curb.
And keep it in track limits.
Those are the big things. And to be fair to the drivers, if we start getting rain, does that become difficult?
Get really, really tricky.
Because,
in fact, Morgan, if we are able to go to David's camera on the last corner, we can have a bit of a talk over the track limits. Thank you very much. There is the new curb on the outside. Now, long-term viewers will probably already be aware that we used to be given to the curb as our racing line, so we could run 2 wheels over the far side of the curb and onto the concrete runoff. Eagle-eyed long-term viewers will also know straight away, Andrew, that curb has got quite wide. It's a bit like you after lockdown. Yes, it is. It's got a bit of girth now, and we can't use that as the racing line. So we are now very straightforwardly running the same regulations that Motorsport UK, WMKC events, for example, have run for many, many years. Track limits is the white line, and we did see a few instances, or penalties this morning, I should say, where drivers, if they run all 4 wheels to the left of that white line as you're looking at it now, that is track limits. You get 2 strikes and you're out. So you may see TLW coming up on your screen. That's a track limits warning. If they get too many of them, they will get a penalty. And we're also talking this last corner, the inside. This was a big one in heavyweights. We saw the heavyweights final decided by this. Joe Holmes making contact with that big boy curb on the inside too many times, got a penalty, and lost the final victory as a result. So
it can be the biggest of the big. When I'm not just talking about it because I'm a stickler for the rules. I'm talking about it because it can have a big impact, and it's the shift as well. The weather is critical.
Yes.
If it's dry, you'll see more monster curb infringements. If it is wet, you are going to see hardly any monster curbs, I would have thought, because you want to actually
turn in enough to actually touch
the
thing.
The wet line through the final corner sees you deliberately want to steer clear of that inside curb because there's very little grip there in the wet. But that means that you're more likely to infringe on track limits. And this was a key thing yesterday. Andrew and myself, we were in the endurance series here yesterday, which was good fun. But my goodness, was it difficult on the track when it was getting damper and the track when it was getting dry. You've got to make the judgment call. When do I switch lines? When I do switch lines, if it's too early, if you go, do you know what? I'm going to try the inside line this lap. I can see a bit of dryness forming there. If you've misjudged that and it's still too wet, you are going to go straight on. And to rein that in such that you don't go over the white line, it's like the analogy I was going this morning for anyone who watches racket sports. The rules are like a tennis line. So long as your right-hand wheels are on that line, you are not violating track limits. But if you go all 4 wheels onto the cattle grid curb, you're going to get a warning and then you're going to get a penalty. But if you misjudge that twice, as weather conditions are changing, and I would say that Paddock Corner is one of the hairier corners when it's wet here.
Yeah.
The hairiest corners are probably 1 and 2, because they're the last to dry out and they're high-speed corners.
Yeah.
If you get it wrong in there, you are going to go off into the rest of Northamptonshire.
I would go with Ashby personally.
Ashby, yes, but I tend to be all right if we have. This is where we're having a debrief from yesterday, effectively. I found it was all right around Ashby, so long as you just keep it wide. Osiers is hairy in the wet because it is so wide when it actually starts to turn in.
Yep. By that it means, ladies and gentlemen, the line that you take.
Yes.
You do a proper wall of death around
yes.
the outside of Osiers, which is the second of the left-hand of the circuit.
Indeed. To be clear, I'm not talking about how much the difference is between the dry line and the wet line. That is, I mean, Christmas Corner has a massive difference between the wet line and the dry line. Well, I'm talking about the ones where you just sort of go, if you get it wrong, you sort of clench up in the seat and go, oh, God. Right, Paddock is one of those where if you've done it wrong, you're suddenly... And also, if you get it wrong, you're aware of it if someone's right behind you because they've just done it better.
Yeah.
So all those stressful aspects to it means that you're more likely to make the mistake and go over the line and all that sort of stuff. So it sounds like a bit of a dry subject. But no pun intended, but it literally decided who won a round this morning in the heavyweights.
Look out for my mate Colin. He's sat there on the curb.
Colin the Cone.
Looking out over
the
vista.
If anyone, that's probably the safest cone on the whole track, because if anyone hits that one...
He's got some of his other mates, Collins, around the circuit. Don't be messing with my mates Collins, because they'll sort you out. And also look out for their cousin, Terence the Tyres, which someone in this room had an altercation with yesterday.
Indeed. Have we covered what happened last time out in the lightweights?
No, we haven't.
Because it is a certain Jack O'Neill who leads this championship. I really hope that I've said that before I brought up the table, so I really hope I'm right. I am right. There we go. Jack O'Neill won this last time out at Clay Pigeon. So we pick up the streaming here at round 2. Unfortunately, we aren't able to stream every single round of this year's championship, but things got underway at Clay Pigeon in Dorset a few weeks ago, and it was Jack O'Neill who took home the spoils on that occasion.
We said this morning Joe Holmes had a
Yes.
round at Clay Pigeon that you couldn't really beat. I lied. Jack O'Neill beat it. He
did.
took the final victory, 2 heats and a second in the heats that he didn't win.
Yes.
Because he was being a bit shoddy in that one. Daz Teal, who always runs well round Clay Pigeon, currently is second in the championship. So Jack O'Neill on 189, Daz Teal on 185. Ed Bars, reigning champion, didn't have as good a time in the final as he would have wanted. He was only 5th in the final, but did have good heats results. He's in 3rd on 183. Dan Healy, who always runs well in a streamed round, or at least he did in 2020. He's 4th on 182. And Stevie Hicks is 5th on 181, who we shall say is a bit of a Whilton Mill specialist.
He is that, yes.
So look out for him today. C2, so this is C1s are our top Premier drivers, or what would previously be known as our Premier drivers. C2 drivers are your kind of clubman's / top of the Open Championships as they used to be. In terms of C2 at the moment, Alistair Irvine currently leads C2. He's 10th overall. He's on 169 points. He's actually being matched at the moment by Peter Knight, also in C2, also on 169. Darry Sims, former lightweight Open Sprints champion. He's 14th overall in points, 3rd in C2 on 161. Let's also pay attention to C3. We go down to 31st overall to find Samuel Essery, who's top of C3 at the moment on 133. And you go quite a bit further down to find the next C3, which is Russell Cooper, 46th on 115. Matthew Cochran, 3rd of the C3s, 49th overall on. Whoops, there goes the computer in a bit of a strange direction. 111 points. That's your championship situation. As I say, still very early stages. That almost feels like reading out the league tables at the end of the first week of the new football season.
Yes.
Still a lot of racing to go.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with this, we have got 2 subclasses here. Andrew was just referring to the Class 1s, your Class 2s, your Class 3s. They all get scored together, but there is still silverware and a championship on offer within each of those. But the significance of them all being scored together is that every position counts.
Yep.
You want to fight for every single position in spite of what class everybody is in. Red number plates on the carts denote Class 1 runners. Black number plated carts are either Class 2s or Class 3s. As you're watching them on the stream, drivers keep their numbers for the entire season. So if you are supporting a particular driver, it does well to learn their number just for quick reference. And the other thing, I don't think we covered the format that we're doing. 12 heat races. Every driver will take part in 3. Fair enough, we did do that. Sorry, sir. I was looking at things.
What we haven't mentioned, though, is we've got a hashtag not biased situation. There is Andrew Ward.
Yes.
In the number 46. The only good bit of the DDMM Barnstormers on yesterday's performances.
Also, the
has
only
pole position for this race. How's he swindled that one?
I don't know. He'll claim it's randomisation, but I don't know. I don't buy it. I have to say, he's the only member of the DDMM Barnstormers team who did not get a track limit or cone running all day yesterday.
Stop saying these things. He also had no qualifying, did he? Because someone drove the cart around who practiced a little bit too long. Oh, it was a good day. And we don't even know if we've properly captured it on the GoPro, of course.
We don't.
We had a bit of a mare yesterday.
So he starts from pole, and he will have carried virtually no knowledge from yesterday because the track conditions are completely unlike anything he had yesterday.
Correct. He has had a practice session, though. So.
He has, yeah. No, he'll be in the groove, as it were.
And lives about 10 minutes from the circuit, so he's got no excuses, really. There's James Martin, another driver who when I think James Martin and Whilton Mill, I think good things.
Yes.
He tends to run strongly around here.
Alistair Irvine, who we just saw going through shot as well, I think is a real...
yeah, well, he's had front rows in BUKC qualifiers in years gone by, races that you have to do time qualifying for. I should mention as well at the start of a new streamed round season. Good luck to Mr. Christopher Powell. There he is, because he's wearing my favourite number 56. So lots of reasons to be hashtag not biased in this race.
Absolutely. Well, no, hang on. If there's loads of reasons to be hashtag not biased, you will actually genuinely.
Yeah, I can see what
it cancels out. Anyway, yeah, we're about to get underway with streaming lightweight action for the first time in 2021. Do please keep your comments coming in via YouTube. Share and subscribe and hit the notification bell, please. It is fantastic to have your support, and we hope that, well, we're very confident you will be rewarded with some fantastic racing, as we always see, in my opinion, from Club 100, but particularly around Whilton Mill, provides some really good racing action, which I hope you're about to see a demonstration of.
Field under starters orders then here at Whilton Mill. Pace Kart Pro Kart will give us the thumbs up. There they are. He will drive straight on. And we've got this one under starters orders, as we say. Andrew Ward on the left of your screen in the red, black and white helmet. Matthew Collier on the right-hand side of your screen. That's now switched round. As we look to the lights, they're red, they're green. We're racing for round 2 of the Club 100 Lightweight Sprints Championship for 2021. Very good start from the pole side of the grid. Ward leads out of turn 1 and turn 2. Christopher Powell has followed him through. Alistair Irvine is already up to P3 from the 3rd row of the grid as they go through Christmas Corner for the first time. Nice steady start from the lightweights. Good clean running, that's what we like to see. Down into Ashby Corner as wide goes the number 61 of Andrew Rabbage, gets it back on circuit. As they come out of Ashby for this first lap, it's still Ward from Powell, Irvine there in 3rd place, and Bailey Morgan's had a good start as well, so it's 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, now all up in the top 4 from the grid.
Yeah, exactly. Not for the first time today, mate, that we've said that, as look at this, a challenge for the lead. Chris Powell down the inside of Andrew Ward into the boot, and he's managed to make that stick. So change for the lead at the end of this one, and Alistair Irvine's bumping over the curbs to try and find a way through as well, and he's done that. That is nicely judged there by Alistair Irvine. So that is going to be Christopher Powell in the lead ahead of Alistair Irvine and Andrew Ward, your top 3. But yeah, not for the first time today that we've said that the pole side of the grid had a good start.
Yeah.
There, mate. It does seem to have had... I'm not sure if a reaction to the lights or not, because we've seen quite even starts as well.
Yep.
And there's no inherent reason why that should be the case either, because the racing line actually goes back over to the right-hand side in many ways. So
yellow flag, somebody is out of the race. There's also a pro kart, pace kart looking, I'm guessing, to recover somebody.
Ross O'Brien, who is off there according to timing.
He's not come round on the first lap. 5.5 minutes of these of this particular heat to go. These short, snappy races. Contact warning for Matthew Cochran, one of the many C3s in this one, and Irvine down the inside. That's a move he's pulled many, many times before over the years. As Powell tries to fight back, misjudges it, and Ward's going to go round the outside. Bailey Morgan's not too pleased about that. Contact warning, as we say, for the number 30. But Irvine leads at the end of lap 2 ahead of Ward, Powell, Morgan, Collier, Langthorpe, Martin, Rabbage, Hobson, Mendez. Your top 10 is a spin with a yellow penalty for number 67, which is Liam Rogers. Yeah, so he'll have spun out at Ashby, and that is a demonstration, or a failure to demonstrate that you were in sufficient control of the car in a yellow flag zone. So that is why that gets penalised. What Powell was trying to do on that last lap was he was trying to get the switch back to counter-attack, and he couldn't go anywhere with the overspeed, so he kind of just went, well, I'll just bump over the curb a bit, and it pushed him out onto the grass. That's why he lost out there. It's important for Bailey Morgan, one of the youngest drivers, we should say, in the field. Yep.
Young Drivers Championship last year in Club 100 and features in this sprint championship. He just needs to keep calm in those situations, you know, and it's actually to his benefit in a way, because he's now got a kart to attack in front of him. Alistair Irvine with the fastest lap of the race, although several people besting that time as they stream across onto lap 4.
So Irvine and Ward trying to work together now, pulling the tactics from this morning. We'll know all about those. So the race kind of calms down now into its middle state. 2-2 at the front, and then Matthew Collier in 5th place.
Rob Langthorpe and James Martin working well together, I think, Andrew. Two Class 1 runners who are working to get onto the back of this breakaway group of 5 at the moment. I say breakaway group of 5, they're quite spread out in of themselves. And there is the signal from Andrew Ward to Alistair Irvine to say, yeah, no, it's cool for now. We're good. The gloves will come off in 2 minutes' time. We're all fine.
Yeah.
But they're working at the moment to try and bridge that gap. And actually, there's a change. I think James Martin's got by Rob Langthorpe. I can see in the back now for 6th place.
He has indeed. Track limit warning for the number 27, which is Callum Birel, the former Warwick and Cranfield ABkC driver. And there is Rob Langthorpe in the number 12 with the yellow and red helmet. Up the inside of Archie Hobson there is Rogério Mendes, who was in the chat earlier.
Yep.
I was asking about an onboard camera cart and whether that would be something possible in the future. It's like, well,
it is possible.
It is possible, but be careful what you wish for, Rogério, because there is a curse.
Thunderbolts and clouds
yes.
gloom over this.
ABkC viewers will know all about that.
Anyone who has ever had an onboard camera fitted
has not had a good race.
Immediately failed to finish the race where they have the camera. It's genuine.
A genuine thing. In even 1 year could arguably be said it decided a ABkC championship. So
it could have.
Don't do it anymore.
Adam Whilton there getting past Matthew Cockram and up into
Warwick
12th place.
Battle.
Yes, good point.
Birel versus Hobson.
Internecine battle, I believe is the correct term here. Both of the Warwick stable.
Whoa, you've gone beyond my Yorkshire vocabulary there, Mr. Mitchell. Steady on. 2 minutes to go. Steady start this from the lightweights. Good to see you. It's a little bit too rough for my liking in the heavyweights this morning. Some good racing out there to kick things off.
I love the fact that there's still the traditional Warwick moustache there.
Yes.
I love the hobnob helmet. Everything about that setup is to my liking, to be perfectly honest, there for Archie Hobson in the 33. New fastest lap of the race from Alistair Irvine last time around.
A hobnob would have been a very, very... Oh, that's going to be a monster. That was a monster curb hit, and Mr. Birel will know all about that when he next comes around and there's a showing of his race number on the screen. Down the inside of the number 61.
It's defending.
It's defending. So, in fact, this is Andrew Rabbage having a really good go here. He was in C3 last season, if I'm not mistaken. Showing some great progress to be fighting here with Rob Langthorpe, who's, again, a bit of a veteran at this now. He's raced in the Sprints Championship for a good few years. Another ABkC graduate, formerly of Newcastle University. Racing very well there is Andrew Rabbage, currently running 4th in C2. Fastest lap of the race has just gone in from Bailey Morgan, 53.773. Still as you were at the front of the field, by the way, as we go on to the last lap. Irvine from Ward from Powell. Here is that fight for 2nd place. So Ward may have to go defensive here. Just got good speed up towards Christmas Corner. But Alistair Irvine has this one under control. More than half a second clear of this trio, who will be thinking at this stage as well that finishing in this top 4, this is all good points. All these heats are about qualifying well for the finals. That's where the big championship points are, and if you're not in that A final, you're not going to get big points. Ward will continue to defend though, as Powell's trying to go round the outside. Oh, doesn't quite have his nose up the inside into the toe of the boot. But Alistair Irvine's going to come round to take a race victory here at Whilton Mill. He takes race number 1. Andrew Ward finishes in 2nd place, and it was very tight on the line there between Powell and Morgan, but Powell holds out. James Martin, good drive to 5th place for him. Matt Collier, a strong 6th. Rob Langthorpe next to the C1s in 7th. Very good drive from both Rogério Mendes and Andrew Ravish, who are in 8th and 9th. Archie Hobson wraps out the top 10 and takes 2nd place in the unofficial Warwick category for today. Good race that, good race to kick things off here at Whilton Mill for the lightweights. We're going to take a short break. Race number 2, heat number 2 is up next. Getting set then for the 2nd of 12 heats for the lightweights. Here is your grid. Daz Teal has pole position alongside Dan Seeger on the front row. Tom Dix was quick in the free practice session. He starts this one from row 2 alongside Josh Adams. Jonah Barker and Nana are on row number 3. Garrett Berry and Peter Knight, who ran incredibly well here last time in October, are on row number 4 on a streamed round. Daniel Healy and Jed Toole are on row 5. Chris Woodger and Steph Theodoru are on row number 6. Sam Morris and Samuel Essery are on row 7. Peter Sharp and Simon Sharp are on row 8. David Hamer and Alex Brandom are on row number 9. That is your field for this one. 18 karts in it. Good afternoon to Mr. Super GT, Steve Brown. Make sure you win it on turn 1, Mr. Steve Hicks. Hicks will be out later. Good to hear from you, Steve.
Yeah, important thing.
We're all missing you, genuinely missing you here today. There's been a lot of people asking how you are. But keep doing what you're doing. Absolutely fantastic work. And I'm not going to say what it is, but very, very much looking forward to what's coming up in the next couple of weeks for you.
Important stuff from Steve Hicks as well. Due to COVID 2020, this is Hicks' family new dog Lottie's first karting event. She's hooked already.
Excellent.
Good stuff.
Let's say stuff. Steve Hicks. There's a lot for new viewers. There's a lot of BUKC graduates in this lightweights class. Hicks himself and Tom Dix as well, formerly of Loughborough University, BUKC champions back in the day, quite a few years ago now. I want to say 2008.
I know it trends on polling days because you're not supposed to talk about anything else, but can we get dogs at kart tracks to trend in the same way as you get dogs at polling stations?
At @MM on Twitter.
Got a dog? Go for it. Dogs at kart tracks. Let's make it happen. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see how Steve Hicks gets on. As Andrew was saying, very, very successful driver around this Whilton Mill circuit.
Hello to Dakota Whitehouse, he said. Says hello from Ohio, regular viewer here on Alpha Live. And if you're new to the Alpha Live YouTube channel and you want to become a regular viewer like Dakota, well, make sure you've got the subscribe button pressed and the notification bell activated.
Nice waves there from some of the people on the balcony here at the circuit.
Yep.
Fantastic to see. Obviously, we're still running this in COVID safe, under COVID safe measures. So you'll see a lot of you'll see people distancing, the one-way systems that we've got here, and masks, etc., that we're doing to make sure that this event can go ahead. It is nice to see, though, that as things are opening back out again, more spectators allowed. So it is lovely to see the people here today to cheer on and support competitors. Do hope you're having a good time, and it is fantastic to see people returning back to the circuits.
And touch wood, as of the next round, although we're not streaming it down at Lid, even less restricted. You know, for example, MSV circuits around the country are opening up as of next weekend.
That being said, though, I do just want to do a shameless plug of something that was born out of the lockdown, but has gone on to be really good fun and successful. That being the Legends of BUKC and Club 100 iRacing Championship. The next round of which will be on Wednesday evening.
Wednesday evening, 7:15 p.m. The broadcast begins on the Double Dash Motorsport Media YouTube channel. We should also say, we should make a thing that it is actually 1 year old now.
It's a good point.
It's 1 year since we did the first tester race where we thought, let's just do this. And we put our hands up and said, should we try streaming it?
Yeah.
It'll probably be in potato cam, and it was. And it's gone on from there. And so we've got regularly 35 plus drivers in each round once a month. So yeah, make sure that you subscribe to the Double Dash Motorsport Media for YouTube channel for that. And good afternoon to one of our drivers, Michael Preston. Somebody make sure Steve Hicks's kart is fueling it as he forgot on iRacing yesterday. Yes, I've heard about this. I've heard about this. Hicksy had an F in the chat, didn't he? Anyway, we're going round again.
It's a full start.
I thought I was talking about iRacing, then we were about to have a race start. Oh dear, Hicksy. I can't laugh too much though. I don't have a particularly good record in team races, do I, on iRacing? let's not mention, Sebring and pulling out the pits.
There's no. I was going to say there's no pit stops in this format of racing.
No.
And do you know what? Even on the fueling thing, some team yesterday in endurance may have missed the fueling window in the practice quali session as well. But there we go. It was fine. It worked.
Yeah.
Anyway, there will be fuel in Higgs's car because it's not in his control.
No. It's in Jimbo's control.
It's in Jimbo's control, and Jimbo's a dab hand at fueling carts. So the Club 100 crew will do a perfectly proficient job of that, I'm sure. But yeah, good luck to Michael as well.
Heat number 2 ready then. Daz Teal, number 6 in the black suit and the yellow and blue helmet with the St George cross on the top. He's got pole position. Dan Seeger, another BUKC graduate, on the right hand screen in the blue and white. Under starter's orders then. Watching for the digi-flag, waiting for the lights to go green. Away we go then. Good start for Daz Teal into oblivion for the first time. Can Dan Seeger hold around the outside for P2? Yes, he can, although Tom Dix is doing all he can to try and nip through. On the way up to Christmas corner, down the inside goes Seeger. Big move on Daz Teal, and it's good for the lead of the race as they come down through Inkermans for the first time. I think it's all clean towards the back of the field. That was a lightning start and a lightning run to Christmas, Howard, for Dan Seeger.
I want to say, apologies if I've got this right, I want to say it's the first time we've seen that today.
Yes.
A second place driver, and you know what I think was key? I'm not saying not everybody's been doing this, but it's difficult to tell a driver's eye line when they've got a helmet, of course, but I reckon Seeger's eyes were pinned on the right foot of Daz Teal.
Yes.
On that start finish. You could just see his head cocked to the side slightly, and I think he was watching for when the leader first squirted the accelerator pedal. As Chris Woodger there getting by on Dan Healy towards the end of this lap.
Yeah, Dan Healy, runner-up in this Lightweight Sprints Championship last season. As we mentioned when going through the grid, had a tendency to really raise his game on a streamed round. Will he do the same again today? Peter Knight is on the move, the 102. Having a good fight there with Daniel Cohen, another BUKC graduate, formerly of Aston University. Chris Woodger now goes down the inside of him, going for an overtake for 7th place. A little bit of bumping and barging. Dan Healy cuts through as well in the number 2. So feels like a slightly more frenetic pace at the start of this second heat compared to heat number 1. Still all good racing out there. 5.5 minutes of it to go. Support coming in from Jack Harding. Afternoon, Jack. Hope you're doing well. Cheering on Daz Teal. Jack, a very quick driver in his own right, of course. A couple of drivers running wide at the last corner.
Yeah, that looked like Jed Toole and Sam Essery battling away there. And this is still Woodger and Healy.
Yeah, Woodger just pointing Healy through there, and Healy thanking him for it. That may seem a little bit strange to newer viewers. Why would a driver deliberately point another driver through? Healy is probably a little bit quicker, and Woodger's identified there that sitting on the rear bumper of Dan Healy could be a good tactic to pull himself further up through the field in the race later on.
I mean, it's worth, Dan Healy second in the championship last year. It's worth noting that, these drivers have been, some of them, racing against each other for years. They'll know, where a driver is strong, and if it's advantageous in the moment to let a driver through, then that's what you'll do.
Yep. Here's your lead group then. Dan Seeger at the front of it. Daz Teal there in second place. Tom Dix, and then Jonah Barker having a sterling run here. Another C2 driver, and Peter Knight trying to cross the gap as well. All the old boys are tuning in now. Good afternoon, Jonathan Lissitter. Thank you as always for the great coverage. Pleased to bring it to you, Mr. Lissitter. This battle though, raging on at the front of the field. And if we can keep this 4 together, this is going to be very, very tasty towards the end of this race. And as I say, Peter Knight, who kind of took the Club 100 world by storm the last time we had a streamed round here. Which
I was going to say, it was at Whilton Mill that happened.
Yeah, he was in the C3 category at... Teal trying to look down the inside here for a move on Seeger. There's a little bit of pod-to-pod action, and Tom Dix is trying to take advantage of this as well, going around the outside through Inkermans. Jonah Barker's up the inside, they're nearly 3 wide. Tom Dix has gone for a bunny hop, but it's all getting a little bit rough down there, and somehow, contact and a bit of a rise in the air there for Jonah Barker.
Yeah.
Teal leads off the corner. Peter Knight has hopped through into second place, and the gloves are off now.
And what's happened here as well is it's brought a slew of Class 1 runners onto the back of it as well. So Josh Adams, Dan Healy and Chris Woodger are now all in on this as well. Having tried for several laps to get in on the action, they're now right with this pack with Dan Seeger. Here they are, trying to join into the battle. So it all just starts. It's always interesting how the rhythm can get upset in a race.
Yeah.
And it was a decent, earnest attempt there, but it just all got a little bit shaky. And towards Ashby, you know, going 3 wide and almost leaning on each other into the braking zone, it's always going to be a little bit shaky there.
Dan Healy will be liking this. He thrives on these situations as Teal defends from Peter Knight. But as I say, Peter Knight was in C3 at the Bayford Meadows streamed round last year as we came out of lockdown number 1, and was then bumped up to C2 immediately because he showed he was more than quick enough to race in amongst the big boys, the more experienced drivers. There's somebody's up there, Sam Morris, yes, who's retired from the race. And for a while it looked like, I mean, this, as a C2 driver, was going to win the round. In the end, I think he finished 3rd on that day, but very much impressed us here in the commentary box. He's impressed us here again as he's taking on Daz Teal. Teal defends into Christmas Corner. 1 minute and 14 seconds to go. Adam H, absolutely spot on. Lovely patience from PK to take advantage there. Yep, just picked his moment, didn't send it in there, let the others trip over themselves, and gained positions from it, and potentially a race win here.
Still good stuff as well. Jonah Barker, considering he ended up on the grass, as here's the move, here's the look from Peter Knight down the inside of the boot, and that was clean and tidy there. It's always difficult to defend into the boot. I did think that Daz Teal might have had a bit more of a response there, but it was a clean move, good move, and it's on to the last lap for Peter Knight. Either way, Daz Teal is looking good for a tidy haul of points to get his day off to a start. Is he going to attack into Christmas Corner? Peter Knight does not feel the need to defend, and Daz Teal does not feel the attack is on. But further back, there's action here. This is Chris Woodger and Josh Adams. And Josh Adams has got by now with Tom Dix looking to capitalise. This is all in the battle over 6th place, and ahead of them, Dan Healy here side by side with Jonah Barker as they try and chase Dan Seeger over 3rd place.
Lead us on the back straight now. This has been again a very, very impressive performance from Peter Knight as he comes through the final couple of corners. He's going to take his first heats victory of the season here in Club 100. Picked his moments, kept it out of trouble. Peter Knight takes heat 1 here, heat 2 rather, in the lightweight sprints. Daz Teal from pole position, good haul of points, 2nd for him. Dan Seeger recovers to 3rd. Jonah Barker 4th. So it's all about the C2 drivers in that one. Dan Healy 5th. Josh Adams, Chris Woodger, Tom Dix down to 8th. Dan Cohen, a good result for him in 9th, and Steph Theodori wrapping up the top 10. Sam S.r.o, your top C3. That was heat number 2, another short break, and heat number 3 are heading out right now. Heat number 3 then for the lightweights here at Whilton Mill, 2021 Club 100 Sprints, round number 2. Hussein Rashid has pole position for this next one. Pietro Pagano alongside him on the front row. Martin Auger and Jack O'Neill start the race from row number 2. Darry Sims, great to see him back in action here on the Club 100 stream, starts this one alongside Keith Segal on row 3. Chris Alcock and Reece Pope start from row number 4. Reigning champion Ed Bars and Tony Philbin are on row number 5 in the middle of the grid. Oscar Lancaster and Mike Coppin start on row number 6. Aaron Stillwell and Bryn Alban are on row number 7. Amy Breacher and Finn Farrow are on row number 8. Matt Hugo and Andrew Bushell on row number 9. 18 karts in the field for this one. Keep your comments coming in Adam H very happy with that drive from Peter. J Elliott, can we get a replay of Daz's move into Ashby? I'm not sure. Morgan, I don't know whether the replay function is working today. But yeah, it got a little bit tasty in there.
If I can do
dear old Daz. We've not got it. Apologies.
But you can go back and watch absolutely everything on the Alpha Live YouTube
channel, Mr. Mitchell.
Don't forget that you can do that once this is all done. If you missed the heavyweights this morning, go watch the heavyweights. It was great. Honest. You got to check it out. So you can do that. You can go back. You can go back because we did establish, sadly, we are the next round. It's quite a while until we stream the next round of this.
Yep.
It's quite a while until the next round of which we are streaming, i.e. round 5.
Yep.
In the interim, there's so much stuff that you can go back and watch of Club 100s of yesteryear. And it's well worth doing. So I will
Ed Barr's
do that.
Problem
yes.
is being recovered by the pace cars.
Is, and that's going to mean that he's going to get a cold cart with not a lot of warm-up.
Yep.
So challenge there for our reigning champion.
Now you've got all the BUKC action on there. We've had some good streams there from Shannington a few weeks ago.
Yes.
Excuse me. And
yeah, it was good for BUKC's first ever visit to Shannington as well. So that was great to be able to stream.
Clay Pigeon as well. Hello to Ed Gordon. I raced online with Bruce Pope through lockdown before racing with him in real life at round 1 of the YDC in July.
Yeah, that's always a cool aspect of
it.
You know, when you can.
And I think it is something genuinely new that's come out of the last 12 months. That there's always been a great sense of community in the Club 100 paddock. We've now got like these slightly different communities within the Club 100 community, like all the GT Sport boys. Because a lot of them tend to race on a Saturday. So I'm thinking people like Kirith Kalirai and Ryan Sandel, not Sandell, Sandel. And it's really good. It's really, really good. And I hope it does continue when we do get back to normality, whatever normality in the future looks like.
Couldn't agree more. And I would say as well, you know, it was so nice during lockdown because we're not going to dwell on it too much. But, you know, it wasn't the the golden days of anyone's social life really. To, you know, on a Wednesday night, even if we weren't running around at the championship, there'd be something on Wednesdays. To have that social scene within the Club 100 family, that was fantastic to have. So huge shout out to Steve Hicks, who's involved in the creation of that,
big part of organising the iRacing Championship.
Huge part of that. Matt Hale's been doing loads of work on that as well. Tom Bax, it's been great. Shout out to all those guys because I think it was a really important and brilliant thing to come out of lockdown. So fair play.
And just say as well, it's also being used for driver coaching.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Anwar from this morning, Anwar Brule Smith and Josh Ladd have been training people on iRacing, and it is transferable. It's transferable skills to this in real life in Club 100. So it really, really has been a rewarding thing to see. Someone needs to let the pace car through, because he needs to be at the front.
I just want to acknowledge a comment as well, because Joe Craddock's asking on YouTube, how come you guys don't stream YDC? And we get a lot of questions about this of, you know, can we stream the Saturday action in the SP60 and the endurances and all that sort of stuff. We are not, as much as we race in this championship and we love doing all the stream, we're not the arbiters of that. But what I will say is that Club 100, they listen to their customer base. So if you're out there and you're going, oh, I wish they did it, like make the point to John Varga and the folks at Club 100. They will hear you out on that most certainly. We wish that we could stream absolutely everything, but we haven't. Well, Andrew and I haven't got the capacity to commentate on all of it, and you'd all get sick of our voices. But
tried commentating in the same race.
We have. It didn't work. It didn't work. But you know, definitely get on there and start asking the question. Who knows?
Bite off a lot. That was a BUKC 24 hour.
That was a BUKC 24 hour. We tried to do that.
Anyway,
but yes, get out there and ask the questions, definitely. Who knows? As things open up again in 2021, who knows?
Ready for heat number 3 then. Hussein Rashid on pole position in the red and orange, and he's broken the tram lines there, so that's going to be at least a warning, but he's going to hold the lead through turn 1. Pietro Pagano makes contact there, and O'Neill's at the inside as well. Jack O'Neill, here he comes in the Titan Motorsport suit and has already got the lead. Well, that was a dramatic start to their 4 wide, 5 wide, and Ed Bars is involved in going through Christmas corner there.
Gary Sims as well.
Yeah, that was all a little bit too rough as they went through the first couple of corners. And for me, Howard, that was all triggered right at the front of the field. Hussein Rashid breaking tram lines as he took the start.
Yeah, there was just the attempt, wasn't there, from Pagano on Rashid there. To be frank, I'm not sure how much the tram lines being broken led to the incident, because the incident was really at the apex of 2 in many ways. But yeah, it was a robust attempt from Pagano to take the lead, and a robust defence from Rashid, because he knew that there were going to be people likely there. So I don't know, a bit of a racing incident for me, but the end result was for Jack O'Neill to get to the head of the field, as there's a penalty for Mike Coppin.
Not a good first lap for Applewood Independent drivers. Both of them have got penalties. As down the inside there goes Pagano on Rashid.
Yeah, Chris Alcock as well then, absolutely, mate. The Applewood crew with each with a 4-place penalty. Not a good start there, and I presume that's because they were involved in the incident that we saw Gary Sims and Ed Bars involved in.
Yeah, they were in that region of the pack, but for what it's worth, Mike Coppin has got himself now up to 4th place on the road, ahead of Rhys Pope. Good support coming in for Amy Breacher in this one as well, currently running in the top 10. Number 59, as Coppin and Rashid go side by side, and who's going to win out of this one as they go into Paddock Bend?
Rhys Pope in their wheel tracks as well, looking to capitalise. It's going to go 3 wides over the start-finish straight, and I think that's Mike Coppin realising he's got that penalty. But it is Rashid who comes out on top in that one.
Track limit warning for Amy Breacher in the number 59. Rashid goes defensive now. Coppin going this way and that. Just behind them, the number 68 Martin Auger is making a move and making contact with Keith Segal, the number 58, and that's going to allow Aaron Stillwell through. Aaron Stillwell, a C3 driver, is up to 6th place as Ed Bars is trying to, well, he's got bandits at all angles at the moment, trying to fight his way through. Of course, he was involved and taken out on the first lap. He's on a bit of a recovery drive now. And it's interesting, isn't it, Howard, how these days, in terms of the psychology play themselves out as...
that's round for Keith Segal.
Yeah, that was Chris Alcock making contact with Keith Segal, and I think there may be a penalty because of that one coming up. But no, the playing out of this championship, yep, there it is, take out for Chris Alcock, as Rhys Pope side by side with Mike Coppin. We've seen Dan Healy have a pretty good first race.
Yeah.
And, be in a good position. You've got Jack O'Neill at the front of this one. Already feels to me like the pressure's building on the reigning champion Ed Bars, and we're only 5 races into the season.
Yeah, I mean, as Martin Auger gets a penalty
for forcing a driver wide.
Yeah. Just trying to think if we saw what that was for. As in, if we saw...
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. It might have been for contact with Keith Segal up at Christmas Corner.
Yes, quite possibly. So, I know what you mean, mate. Ed Bars here in amongst the... I mean, to be fair to the Class 3 drivers that are around, they're doing great Class 3 in this one. Stillwell up in 6th, and then Amy Breacher in 8th, Andrew Bushell in 9th, albeit Breacher's just had a contact warning. They're doing brilliantly as Chris Alcock gets by on Stillwell.
I'm also quite glad to see Chris Alcock's got a new helmet.
And wide there onto the curbing goes Andrew Bushell. But I think that's it, right? These are still Class 3 drivers who are maybe still... I mean, the whole point of Class 3 is where you cut your teeth. It's where, Ed Bars needs to pick his way through clearly on these these people, and then he's very good at running nose to tail with predictable drivers he knows and he's raced against for ages. But he's got to pick his way here through drivers who are in that Class 3 novice rank.
He has got potential to recover this in a not too bad position if you consider that both Alcock and Coppin ahead of him have penalties and big penalties.
And hey, this was his mid-starting position. He started this one in 9th. he might well end up, I mean, as you say, if penalties are applied at the moment, he would be classified as 8th or 9th. So, hey, he's converting, he's not going down, he's not going backwards from his grid slots, and there he goes again.
Side of Andrew Bushell there for 9th place.
But
that puts him in the range of benefiting from Chris Alcock's penalty.
But it's not the clean run, you know, if you look at his scoreline from last season, it was win. You know, 2 heat wins in a round.
Very
stuff like
rarely
that.
was he outside the top 3.
Exactly that. So there is, I know what you mean when you say there's just this feeling of additional pressure there. That was a great move from Darry Sims on Andrew Bushell into Oziers, which is putting him up to net 10th, I want to say.
Battle going on here between the number 62 of Aaron Stillwell and Amy Breacher. This is the top C3. This is for the win in C3 in this heat, and they've got the reigning champion up behind them now. Track limit warning for a few drivers coming in. Contacts warning for red bars coming in as well, so that's not a penalty, that's just a warning.
That's your race leader. Haven't seen him in ages, but that was him.
But, do you know what? This has been such a Jack O'Neill race. We've seen him and the Titan Motorsport crew do this a lot in endurance racing and in some of the other formats run on a Saturday as well. Don't often see it on a sprints, but I do get the feeling Jack's really going for the Sprints Championship this year. And he's just taken off. He's got a lead of 4.4 seconds.
The pace that the Titan team had yesterday in the endurance.
They won by a lap, ladies and
I mean,
gentlemen.
I was genuinely becoming convinced they had treaded tyres in the damp.
And to
didn't.
To say as well, that was a lap in wet conditions. So that's not 52, 53 seconds. That's getting up towards 1 minute 20. It was domination from them yesterday. Here's a good battle over second place on the road between Mike Coppin and Pietro Pagano. And Reese Pope's going to try and get involved in this as well and maybe have a bit of a cutback. Coppin, of course, has a penalty to be given to him post-race. And Pagano's fighting this one hard. Can he keep himself in front? Yes, he can. Robust defence there from Pietro Pagano. We are on the last lap. The leader is coming into the boot now. And what a start for Jack O'Neill. He really is in some great form. Round the final corner, Jack O'Neill has won, and Mike Coppin trying to say, no, don't overtake me, I've got a penalty, you're going to gain the position anyway. But Pietro Pagano second, Mike Coppin third, Reese Pope fourth, Hussein Rashid, and whoa, big massive moment there for the 52 out the final corner. But Reese Pope, Hussein Rashid, Chris Alcock, Aaron Stillwell, a C3 driver up in the top 10, and ahead of reigning champion Ed Bars. Wouldn't have guessed that result at the start of this race. Darry Sims 9th and Amy Breacher in the top 10. Slightly chaotic third heat, but we'll be back very shortly with heat number 4. Last heat of the first rotation then. Heat number 4 grid looks like this. Ashley White has pole position. Alongside him on the front row is Ned Douglas. Jason Bradbury and Adrian Mertens are on row number 2. Joshua Halloran and Cameron Ross make out the top 6. Dom Cliff and Steve Hicks start on row number 4. Rihanna Percox, another Whilton Mill specialist here today, starts alongside Stephen Westwood on row 5. Thomas Barrett and James Wattis are on row 6. Bartek Barakonski and James Dunnett are on row number 7. Tim Clark and Jagjit Singh are on row number 8. Dean Everest and Sean Glennon are on row number 9. 18 karts in the field. This will be the last heat that has some warm-up laps before it. Keep the comments coming in on the YouTube stream. Keeping an eye on them. New lid for Chris Alcock. Yes, very glad of that, because the Applewood boys, before at Clay Pigeon, Chris was wearing one of Mike's old helmets, and I was thinking, back of my mind, don't you dare do that on a stream, Chris Alcock, because you will confuse the heck out of me. And he hasn't, because he's got a new lid. Some very, very nice colours on it.
Confuse the heck out of it. We will just call you the wrong thing, to be fair.
Yes. Apologies to Richard Allen this morning. He's got a new lid, or a recent-ish new lid.
Yeah.
That is a little bit Craig Brown-esque. So apologies, Rich, this morning. There were a couple of times that I said, "Is Craig Brown?" No, it's not.
A lot of people coming in with this Adam H, who was putting in the support for Peter Knight earlier on, he's a very good chance of being a front runner. And
yes.
Rogerio Mendes concurs with it to some extent. Peter has always been a great driver. I've raced with him for about 10 years. He certainly has the skill. He certainly has the pace.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting to see how his season comes together.
You can tell that that is someone who's raced since very young and very much grown with the sport. It's the confidence that Peter Knight has when I've seen him race here. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
We'll see him out again later, of course, though. As we say, we're getting ready for heat number 4.
And as Andrew hinted at, last race of the rotation, every driver will have done one of their 3 heats by the end of this one.
Just saw Sam Taylor, one of our testers, going through. He's another driver in the esports fraternity. And we'll be racing in the GT Sport competition, also on the Double Dash Motorsport Media, Tuesday night, 9 PM, week number 2 of their 4th season. They have short, snappy seasons, as opposed to the big, long ones like the R-Racing competition. So do go watch week number 1 of that back over on the Double Dash Motorsport Media YouTube channel.
Relatively even split of Class 1s, 2s and 3s in this one, Andrew, just looking through the field.
Looks like Steve Hicks may have come in for a kart change because he's come around and done a 3rd lap.
He will start this
years
one
ago, won the first super final, Club 100 super final here when we had that super finals competition.
Indeed.
Affiliation Motorsport.
And former Quadrants champion as well.
Yeah.
And former, I don't know why I've taken on the task of trying to list everything he's won because it's going to go on for ages. But very, very successful driving Club 100 machinery. And certainly not least around this Whilton Mill circuit in Northamptonshire, just a few miles outside of Daventry. So, nice central location within England. A lot of championships come here because it's a great track with a central location. Don't forget, of course, plenty of Alpha Live action. Plenty of Alpha Live action in Northamptonshire today.
Yes.
With F3 Cup action as well from Silverstone. So lots to enjoy here from Alpha Live.
So the grid forming up then for this 4th heat. We'll be a 3rd of the way through the heats already after this one. They're flying by here at Whilton Mill. As I say, you've got action at Silverstone here, or here on Alpha Live today. Next weekend, Sunday, WMKC round number 2. I reckon they're going to go around again. Yes, thank you very much, guys. Give me more opportunities to talk about WMKC. Will be myself, James Johnston on commentary. We will possibly have a special guest as well, formerly of WMKC. We'll wait and see. Also rolling back the years, I just spotted is Steve Hicks. He's got his old Tony Kart suit on. Normally wears his SCH orange and black.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he was thinking that
it's going to rain.
Does Hicks know something that we don't?
Yeah, this is where you all crack out your old race suit because that one's fine. I don't need to. Or was he racing yesterday and the actual normal suit is absolutely sodden?
He wasn't racing yesterday.
Okay, fair enough.
In fact, I think he's only just come out of a post-work quarantine because he was
yes, of course.
That's why
yes.
he was here yesterday.
That makes sense.
One of those scenarios. We are keeping an eye on the rain, by the way. It's still very unpredictable. It could be dry for the rest of the day. It could start raining heavily in the next 10 minutes. We just don't know.
The thumbs up from the pace car tells us the race is about to get underway. Not just that he's feeling great, although hopefully he is.
He's in the pace car, of course.
Of course
he's feeling great. Ashley White on pole position then, number 18 on the right-hand side of your screen. Ned Douglas on the left and number 19. Away we go then for heat number 4. Very good start for Ashley White and a good start as well for Jason Bradbury. Cuts through into 2nd place straight away. Adrian Mertens has had a good start. He's held P4 and Bradbury is going for the lead here. Oh, there's a bit of chaos towards the back of the field, but I think Bradbury just went for the lead there and got it. No, he was held off by Ashley White, but it was a good go. Steve Hicks has already made himself up to, I think, about 8th place. That was a good couple of moves.
Started
okay. wasn't a good couple of moves then. He's starting exactly. I thought he started further back. There he is on going for a move on Rihanna Percox. Someone's taken out Howard's favourite tyres.
I'm hurt. But I'll get.
You hurt them.
I hurt them by crashing into them yesterday. Jason Bradbury, we haven't mentioned him yet on the warm-up, but he's been a proficient driver around this track as well. And he's got himself in the pound seats here for challenging for the lead in second place at the end of this first lap behind Ashley White.
Last year was a bit of a B final specialist. He had it down to a T of racing through from the B final, but hopefully today he can get the results in the heats that mean that that's not necessary. Automatically qualified for the A final. There has been a meatball flag for Joshua Halloran. For new viewers, that means there's a mechanical issue with his car with race control and not happy about. There's a safety concern, so he's got to come in, and unfortunately that will be the end of his race. I wonder if it's crash damage. We did see a little bit of bumping and barging on that first lap. Tom Cliff's had a good start. He's in 5th place in the number 11, one of our C2 drivers, up 2 spots.
Ned Douglas right on the rear bumper of Jason Bradbury, but he had an attempt there and it didn't pay off, and it means he's now very much in the sights of Adrian Mertens there in the 57 kart.
Rihanna Percox on the move, has got past Dom Cliff there for 5th place and is currently the fastest driver out there on circuit, 54.360 for Rihanna. There's a mistake by Cameron Moss, which means he's going to lose a position to James Wattis and possibly Steve Hicks as well. But Rihanna Percox always seems to run well here at Whilton Mill, whether that be in Club 100 or in her ABkC days for Birmingham University. Yep,
has taken race wins here before, certainly in lightweights and back when we had the Clubman's Invitational class. She's taken wins around this Whilton Mill circuit. As we cut back to the challenge for the lead here, Jason Bradbury down the inside into the boot. Nicely done there. Will Ashley White have a response? Not through the rest of the boot, as meanwhile now Adrian Mertens is the one under pressure this time around from Rihanna Percox, and Jason there giving the signal, let's work together here, let's bridge the gap, as there's a track limits warning for Steve Hicks, so he's going to have to be careful. Yes, that's one thing, isn't it, of him only getting into the kart today. He didn't have yesterday to get used to these the track limit rules on that final corner, so he's going to need to rein that in just a little bit as Rihanna Percox goes down the inside. Late move to the inside on Adrian Mertens, but made it work brilliantly. That was a lovely move from Percox there through Ashby Hairpin.
Just having a quick squiz at Jason Bradbury's results. He's on good form. He got 3 top 10s at Clay Pigeon in the heats and finished 12th in the A final. So he's comfortably inside the cut-off for that one. Track limit warning for Steve Hicks. I was about to say, I know you were saying about him getting used to it. He's Steve Hicks. He doesn't pay attention to the rules.
The track limit warnings are coming through thick and fast, I have to say. If you're watching the live timing on live.alphatiming.co.uk, which I advise you do if you have another screen free, and there's a penalty for Jagjit Singh as well for hitting the monster curb, as it's being called. It actually comes up as a monster penalty. It has its own designation on the live timing for hitting that inside curb of the final corner. These drivers need to get used to it, as Rihanna Percox is attacking Ned Douglas over 3rd place, and she's going to be pushed onto the grass there because Ned Douglas ran out trying to close the door there. He did have the racing line to stamp that one home, and that one's not gone well, but Rihanna Percox has lived to fight another one. But Adrian Mertens going side by side with Dom Cliff as well behind them in the battle over the 5th. That was a bit of a heart and mouth moment for Adrian Mertens.
Great. Brilliant. That was absolutely spot on from James Wattis, because whilst the driver ahead of him was tapping his helmet to say, think about what you're doing, he got done basically by James Wattis going to the other side and nipping through. Battle for the lead, number 17 and 18. Ashley White coming back at Jason Bradbury here as they go into the hairpin of Christmas, and has got the move done. Very, very good stuff from Ashley White. And we've now got a quartet at the front of the field. Douglas is going to go defensive again on Percox, but she's wise to that one. Is not going to put herself in that position that she did a lap ago.
Jason Bradbury reassuring to me, Andrew, he wasn't defending too hard there. He has got that as now Rihanna Percox goes down the inside, and Ned Douglas is going to take to the grass and go straight through the cone there. And also the number 11 of Dom Cliff on the grass as well. There was a pass on the grass there. 2 wheels on the grass, technically within the rules. If you could go faster than the other competitor with at least 2 wheels still on the tarmac, then all right. But it's getting a little bit frenetic in that mid pack
The
for me.
lights have beaten the heavies. That was a triple hit on Colin. Now leave him alone.
That was a harsh moment there for the cones, and it was firm but fair move though from Percox. I felt going through Osiers. That was
nothing wrong with the move by Rihanna. It is something that I am seeing a little bit too much of for my liking. Drivers trying to hold it around the outside of Osiers. It's not going to work. It's a corner that tightens on exit, and sometimes it's one of those where sometimes you just got to go, yep, that's a fair move. That's a fair cop. I'll slot in behind you going into the back straight.
Indeed. Do not get us wrong. If it starts raining, give it a go.
Yes.
Because it's a completely different matter then. But no, I agree with you. It's live to fight another corner.
Yeah. The thing is, the entry into the boot is a much better opportunity to get back at somebody than trying to fight around the outside of Osiers. I mean, that's just my take on it. We are onto the final lap though. We are. White ahead of Bradbury. Percox right there though, and has got a run on Bradbury here. Oh, but Bradbury closes it off really, really well there. This is a difficult position for Jason.
And Wattis as well. Don't count him out. He's right on the scene as well here.
Having to attack and defend at the same time. Ashley White has got a bit of a gap though. Has Bradbury conceded the win to Ashley White here already? He's just trying to hold on for second place now, as opposed to risking it all. Rihanna Percox down the inside. What a manoeuvre by Rihanna Percox. Takes second place. James Wattis is through now as well. Gains another position through some great driving and taking those opportunities. Ashley White, though, is away though at the front of the field. Is surely going to win the race. Who's going to come home in second place? It's still very, very tight, but Ashley White, round the final corner, is going to take heat 4. A brilliant victory. Rihanna Percox in second, James Wattis in third, Jason Bradbury in fourth. Good points for Adrian Mertens in fifth, Ned Douglas in sixth, Steve Hicks seventh. The kart change did not work for him there. He was not to his liking in that run. Stephen Westwood eighth, Cameron Moss ninth, Thomas Barnett 10th, Sean Glennon your top C3. We're going to quickly wrap this one up because race 5 is heading out right now. Quick fire grid then here for heat number 5. Adam Wielden will have pole position alongside Tony Philbin, Dan Healy and Ramanas Sakauskas on row 2, Josh Adams and Andrew Ward on row number 3. Matt Collier and Martin Auger will be on row number 4, James Martin and Chris Alcock on row number 5, Rogério Mendes and Alex Brandon on row number 6. Alex the first of the C3s, Russell Cooper and Matthew Cockram on row number 7, Samuel Essery and Peter Sharp on row 8, Amy Breacher by herself on row number 9, 17 karts in the field.
Yeah, a significant number of Class 3 runners in this one. There's a bit of a Class 3 derby in this one, so that's going to be interesting to see.
Keep the support coming in. See Joe Craddock saying noticed there's plenty of Brentwood representatives for Club 100. Absolutely. A good centre for it's provided a number of strong drivers over the years. Says Adam Wielden. New suits, sir. There's quite a few new suits around this year.
I mean, you know, we've had lockdown.
Yeah.
People have no one's had any nights out. They've all saved up the money for a new set of karting pajamas. So you know, there's plenty out there.
Karting pajamas.
Heck, I had one. I got a new suit.
You did?
There we go. Support coming in for Rihanna during that last race as well from Kim Eddy as well. It was a good drive from her there, and one wonders what would have happened if there were a couple more laps on that race, because she had a real momentum to her race.
Yeah, probably one or two more and she probably would have got that, but that's the nature of these short sprint races. Can't win them all. Dan Healy having a little look around. Is that a driver going, ooh, is it about to rain? Well, the apps in the comments box are still saying rain in about 40 minutes, but it's been saying that for quite a while. The unpredictable nature of weather here in Northamptonshire doing its finest today. But we are ready for heat number 5 then. Another race for the drivers to compete. Adam Wielden on the right of your screen going from pole position. Can he get the whole shot into turn 1? Yes, he can. Dan Healy's followed him through. He's already into second place. Tony Philbin being forced out wide there. Andrew Ward trying to go round the outside, but already heading up to Christmas. It's Whilton ahead of Healy. Healy's down the inside though, going for the lead of the race. Classic Dan Healy through into first position, being followed through by Josh Adams. Nice move there by Josh, through into second place. There's a yellow flag out for a short period through Inkermans. I think apart from that, everybody is through the first few corners.
Yeah, decent start there, and exactly what Dan Healy needed to do. And yeah, very impressive. Josh Adams is working his way up through the field. Here is Chris Alcock, who needs a better race. With a penalty earlier on, he definitely needs to move his way up through the field in this one.
Coming round to finish lap number 1 then. There is Dan Healy, over start finish at the front of a Club 100 field once more. Josh Adams just behind there in second place. Contacts warning for the number 30 of Matthew Cockerham on that first lap. So Healy from Adams, Whilton, Collier. Andrew Ward has had a good start, he's up to 5th place. James Martin up 3 to 6th. Chris Alcock as well, better start this time. He's up to 7th.
Yeah, and is now working to get onto the back of this top 6. Is Chris having... I don't like to say the term cleared the traffic, because everyone's in the same machinery and is racing, but you know, got himself out of the Class 2 and Class 3 karts, amongst which he was starting in this one.
Sam Essery's had another good start, is up to 8th place, another strong C3 showing at this stage of a race here at Whilton Mill. So Healy continues to lead then from Adams by 0.1 of a second at the end of lap number 2. Whilton from Collier, which is a brief look there at Andrew Ward. Fastest lap of the race so far from Chris Alcock, 55.032. Track limit warning for Martin Algers. Ward goes down the inside there into Ashby Corner, and ooh, did I just see lap times have dropped a bit? Have we got another little bit of the wet stuff coming out of the sky? It's gone very, very cloudy.
By dropped a bit, we mean it's got bigger, longer, a longer lap time. So yeah, it is looking a bit grey in the sky as down the inside tries James Martin on Matt Collier and gets the move done into the boot, but Collier's going to try and come back at him. He has got good drive. He's going to be side by side through paddock, and they give each other good room.
Wow.
That was great racing room given. Great stuff, although what it has done is it's allowed Chris Alcock to get right onto the scene, and he's already got by Matt Collier. That was good, respectable racing, but I think they compromised both of them, and now actually it looks like Alcock might have the pace to get by on Martin as well, and indeed he does. So good, courteous racing.
I stand corrected. You can have 2 karts go through the final corner now without touching the monster, without touching or going beyond the track limits. Yes, I take your point, Howard, that they were slow off the corner and Alcock pounced, but no, that was good racing between those 2 drivers. Just keeping an eye on the lap times. Yeah, they just dipped, didn't they? They went out to the 55s and the 56s, and now they're back into the 54s. So that was another one of those classic Whilton Mill 20-second showers.
Yeah,
I should explain. We're in a I was about to say insulated room. I don't think that's quite the right term. Basically, folks, we have no windows to see outside as to whether it's actually raining or not. So forgive us on that one.
Yeah, it has to rain pretty heavily for us to know about it. Let's put it that way. It's yeah, or hail. There's been plenty of that in the UK over the last few weeks. So never say never.
We talked about Josh Adams. He's absolutely doing a sterling job at the moment in the lead of this race. 0.4 of a second. As Rogerio Mendes has collected Howard's favourite tyres. Sorry, that's going to stick, mate. I think that's what I'm calling them now for the rest of our times here on Club 100 streams.
There are candidates who have hooned them across the track far more than I. But
yeah, but you did it first.
I did it, yeah, okay. Yeah, here is the lead battle. Josh Adams ahead of Dan Healy. Fantastic job that he's doing. You're absolutely right, mate.
I'm using the Gambon corner logic here. Michael Gambon was the first to have a Top Gear moment through that last corner.
I mean,
Tom Cruise had a much bigger moment. It didn't change the corner name, did it?
Whilst I will completely concede and accept the name gladly, I will say this. I reckon if you're saying I'm the first person to have punted the tyres there, JV's reaction will be if only. It's been done plenty of times, but I'll accept it. I'll take the title. I doubt anything else is going to be named after me. Oh no, doing a 360 after you've piled into a load of standing water.
Oh, yes.
But anyway, so Josh Adams here versus Dan Healy, and Dan Healy's looking to tuck underneath, but can't here, and you're absolutely right, mate. He's doing a fantastic job. Is Josh Adams here with 2 minutes left on the clock? He's doing brilliantly. Adam Whilton racing well in third, kind of having a quiet one here. You might just see him come into the back of this long shot, but as Adams feels the need to go defensive now on Healy, and Healy's going to try and use the switch back through the next few corners to set up an opportunity into Ashby. Is he going to have it? Yes, he's already got his nose alongside, but can't do it because Josh is quick to head that one off. But yeah, Whilton in third. Andrew Ward versus Chris Alcox wants to keep an eye on as well, over fourth place in the closing stages of this one.
Onto the back straight, leaders come. Really trying to get that overlap. Adams is simply too quick on the run into the boot there and keeps it nice and tidy under control as they go through the boot. There is Adam Whilton in number 79. There's been a swap there for fourth place as Alcock is now ahead of Ward. Martin just behind, but the C1 drivers doing what they need to do at this stage of proceedings, making sure they get the good points and to get into that A final. Is this now an opportunity for Healy to cut to the inside? No. Again, Adams is just too quick on those straights. He's getting good drive out of the medium speed corners. Doesn't need to defend into Ashby either. This would be a big win if Josh Adams could close this out.
I just want to give a shout out before the closing stages here of still impressive drives here from Class 3 runners.
Yes, absolutely.
8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, all occupied by Class 3 runners. Very impressive stuff.
Into the boot for the final time then. Can Josh Adams close out this victory ahead of a big driver in this championship in the shape of Dan Healy? Round the final corner, yes he can. Josh Adams takes his first victory of the season, and it is a big one. He wins heat number 5 ahead of Dan Healy, last year's runner-up. Adam Whilton in third. Chris Alcock, a much stronger run there in fourth. Fifth for Andrew Ward. Sixth, James Martin. Matt Collier in seventh. Samuel Essery, top C3 again in 8th ahead of Matthew Cochrane, and another top 10 for Amy Breacher. Great race there in heat number 5. Heat 6 is up next. Let's look at your grid then for heat number 6 very quickly. James Wattis will have pole position for this one alongside Jed Toole on the front row. Row 2 is Andrew Rabbage and Thomas Barrett. Row 3, Jack O'Neill and Daz Teal. Dan Seeger and Ned Douglas are on row 4. Peter Knight and Dom Cliff on row 5. A lot of experience on row 6 in the form of Darry Sims and Keith Segal. Into the C3s now. Liam Rogers and Matt Hugo are on row number 7. Aaron Stillwell and Matthew Cliff are on row number 8. And then wrapping out the field, Finn Farrow and Tim Clark. And the R word, it is raining here at Whilton Mill. And I think it's raining probably more substantially than we've had so far today.
So
not this weekend.
We said that we can't tell in this comms box when it's raining. I have the smallest... The reason why is we have some misted windows. There is the smallest break in the misted windows, and I can see the rain.
Oh, you can see it on camera now as well. In fact,
oh, crikey, yes, okay,
I can hear it off. So I think I can hear it off last corner camera.
Oh, that's a very happy David on the balcony there behind
the rain impacting on Mr. Whitehouse's hood. And
don't send in your prediction now, David. Your phone might not be that waterproof. We're going to get some stick for being that cruel to us. It's raining there. But so, yeah, here is the challenge then. These drivers not all kitted up in rain suits, I have to say.
No, good
This could be quite interesting and quite uncomfortable as well. Because
not for this race, the rest of the day. That'll be
well, yes, if you've got
And for new viewers of Club 100, they're all on slicks, no wet tyres. I know there was a substantial incident in the FIA European Karting Championships yesterday, where a load of pros on wet tyres all fell off.
Well, this is going to
They
be...
hit too much water.
It's a thumbs up from the pace kart driver, but I don't think that reflects the mood of many of these drivers. This is going to be a voyage into the unknown. Into, you know, if you've done the practice session this morning, it doesn't tell you much.
Yep.
This is going to be fascinating. The braking zone at Christmas Corner, the track limits coming out of this corner they're on now. This is going to be fascinating, Andrew.
This is going to be a bit of a chaotic race. Who's going to survive it? James Wattis in the 103 starts it from pole position. Jed Toole alongside on the front row. Do they make it even through turn 1? Because the conditions have completely changed. Away we go, and look at the understeer. Daz Teal cutting through the middle there from position 6 on the grid. They're all struggling for grip, trying to get out of the crook and up towards Christmas Corner. Who has got a good start? Well, James Wattis has got one from pole position. And down the inside comes the 99 of Jack O'Neill. They're all struggling again for grip, and there's someone who's gone round in the middle. There's two drivers round. Jed Toole is one of them. I think
Liam Rogers, I think, as well.
Ned Douglas was in trouble as well there in the 19, but down it. Oh, what a huge save! Massive save from James Wattis. I thought he was going off there at Ashby, but he just about hooked it up. But it's Wattis from O'Neill, Teal, that's your top 3, but here comes Jack O'Neill. Now he's got an advantage, hasn't he, Howard? He will have seen conditions like this yesterday in the endurance race, and look at him, he's flying.
Absolutely, and there's another thing I want to raise as well. Conditions for Clay Pigeon, do we know what they were? Because some of these drivers may not have been in the wet for a heck of a long time, and we've got 6 Class 3 drivers in this. I don't know how much weather running they'll have done in Club 100 karts, and if you've never driven in the wet on slick tyres, it's a very difficult experience to get used to on the fly.
Penalty for Darry Sims. It's an ABC takeout, so that's 6 positions at the end of the race.
And whilst I think the clerk of the course has been applying some leniency somewhat with the track limits on that final corner, the rules are the rules, and they have been enforcing it in these conditions. So,
that's
the
lightest number 93. It's Thomas Barrett. That's so easy to do, and unfortunately for the C2 driver, he's going to lose that 7th place.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Dan Seeger trying to put a move in and finding good grip on the inside. Christmas Corner is an interesting one because there is a bit of abrasiveness on the inside. So actually, whilst the wet line does work through Christmas Corner, you can get grip on the inside.
It transitioned massively yesterday. At the start of the race, it was down the very, very narrow inside. It's down the inside of the 75, goes to 28. That's Dan Seeger making a move on Jed Toole. So the start of the race, you wanted to go hard down the inside as you watch. You know, a lot of the best drivers do, but it then transitioned mid-race as Peter Knight's on the way through as well. Is going to get both of these drivers to the extreme outside to give yourself a bit of a slingshot down through Boxing Day.
Indeed, yeah. And Jed Toole now having a look at Peter Knight. Yeah, sorry, I don't think Jed Toole did spin on the first lap. I think I got my Jeds and my Neds mixed up in the heat of the moment because, as you say, Ned Douglas was involved in the spin up at Christmas Corner, but I think Jed Toole was fine. Peter Knight alongside Dan Seeger, who's going to win out here, and that's the wet line demonstrated brilliantly.
Yep.
That was Peter Knight going around the outside at Paddock, a move that you can only really pull off like that in the wet, and now he's going by on Jed Toole, but Jed Toole's going to try and come back at him, but that is turn 2 in the wet exemplified as well, because the drive that Peter Knight is able to get off the outside.
Now look there, you see Peter, that wasn't him defending, that was him going to the inside line where there's a little bit more, as you say, abrasion in the track surface. And it's only really until you get to the point of standing water, and we're nowhere near that stage at the moment, before that line doesn't work. Round goes Toole. Round goes Toole down at Ashby. He's going to keep it out the grass, so that's not too bad a situation. If he'd ended up in the grass, he would have had to push that kart back out, but he's lost, I think, 3 or 4 positions with that, unfortunately. There's Darry Sims at number 44.
He's lost out to Dan Seeger and Dom Cliff. And Darry Sims, sorry.
Yep.
As you say, Darry Sims passed Dom Cliff there. And yeah, it's just squirreling around and finding the grip out there right now.
Lead is 2.5 seconds now for Jack O'Neill over Daz Teal. And they are clear of James Wattis now as well.
It can feel so clumsy driving in these conditions. It really can, as literally the grip just falls away from you lap by lap.
Andrew Ravage, and again Peter Knight trying the outside line. Is he going to do the cut back here? Yep, again, that is a very nice wet line from Peter Knight.
Yes.
Spot on. Absolutely spot on, and it's gained him a position there.
And you could see how he was actually able to comfortably get the kart slightly going sideways on him under braking because of the grip that he was able to find on that inside line. Yeah, it's all about having that experience and having that knowledge. Ashby FO's Dan Seeger here is attacking Andrew Rabbage, who can find the grip in the midst of Ashby Corner.
And these moves are so hard to pull off as well.
Yes.
You know, down the inside, don't know what the grip level's like. It's so easy to wash out on the front and, and collect the driver on the outside.
And there is an element of trust. I mean, particularly down here into Ozies. For me yesterday, mate, when it was wet, it's almost blind faith that you just go, I'm going to brake, and the kart will turn in. It will find the grip.
Yep.
Because the very nature of the wet line means that you have to push the limits of the track more, because it's like, well, I'm going to get turning, but it's going to be wide on the outside of the corner. And if I'm wrong about that gamble, the next option is the grass.
Yep.
That's it. That's how the wet line really works. So it's all about finding those abrasive parts of the circuit where there's a bit more grip, where there's less rubber laid down, it's less slippery. Here is Daz Teal.
Daz Teal is opting for the extreme wide, the
conventional wet line.
Wide outside and then cutting back in, which actually looking at it, I think the rain has subsided.
I think so as well.
The cameras seem a little bit clearer on our screens here in the commentary box, and the lap times are starting to come down, and I think we're seeing that transition back again. And it does happen very quickly here at Whilton Mill. I should say that.
It does, and it's then a case of what's the last place to dry out, and the answer is turn 2.
Turn 2,
which happens to also be the fastest corner of the circuit. So that's another aspect to this Whilton Mill circuit. Here's James Wattis, still running in third. As Andrew mentioned earlier on, fantastic saves that he was doing trying to get to grips with the conditions starting on pole. And currently on target for some impressive points, but not quite as many points as this man here, who at the moment is steering himself towards another haul of 20 points for the heat win.
He is indeed. Jack O'Neill is on some great form at the moment here in Club 100. See him taking that wet line, so he's sticking to the inside. He's liking that inside line for his initial braking, and then switches to the outside for his turn. And he's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him, which is Matt Hugo, number 70.
One of our Class 3 runners who has, as I say, how much running in the wet on slick tyres will these Class 3 runners necessarily have? So, you know, it's a case of them just trying to keep it on the island, I think, at the moment. There you can see he's trying to get to grips with these conditions.
Blue flag shown there to the number 70, and doing the right action as a result of that blue flag. But Jack O'Neill, hand in the air, that probably means that there's a yellow flag out through the boots, that somebody's had some form of incident, or a bit of the track furniture is the official term. It's being replaced, but this is a very good victory for Jack O'Neill as he continues this great form at the start of this Club 100 season. He likes that. That will not have been easy to get that victory, and he's taking it. Daz Teal takes second place, good points for him, and a C2 win for James Wattis. Very nicely done indeed. Peter Knight is going to take fourth place. There he is in the 102, fairly content with that. Dan Seeger in fifth. Darius Sims is going to come across the line in sixth place, but has penalties, so he won't stay in sixth. Andrew Rabbage, good drive from him in the number 61. He's going to finish 7th on the road. There's your top C3. Aaron Stillwell in 8th, Thomas Barrett in 9th, Dom Cliff in 10th. Ned Douglas had a spin on lap number 1. Finn Farrow, Jed Toole, Keith Segal, who's gone a little bit beyond track limits there, finishes in 14th place. Liam Rogers 15th. And just a couple more as well. Matthew Cliff there, not happy in the number 22. Tim Clark, the number 96, and Matt Hugo, as we say, a lap down. That was race number 6. Next up, race number 7. Here we go then for heat number 7. Mike Coppin has pole position for this one. Mike Coppin has pole position for heat number 7 alongside Archie Hobson on the front row. Rihanna Percox and Oscar Lancaster on row 2. Adrian Mertens and Hussein Rashid on row number 3. Pietro Pagano and Tom Dix are on row 4. Jason Bradbury and Reese Pope row 5. Garrett Berry, Joshua Halloran on row 6. Cameron Moss and Sean Glennon row 7. David Hamer and Sam Morris on row number 8. Bartek Barakonski on row number 9 alongside James Dunnett, and Jagjit Singh and Ross O'Brien wrapping out the 20 kart field on row 10.
Our pole sitter is a man who needs a good race, Andrew.
He does indeed.
Sudden rain suits have been discovered in the boots of the cars and the motorhomes and the bag. All the paraphernalia has been pulled out for the rain. And as far as I can tell, it's pretty much stopped raining.
Yes.
But no, there will be some spray created in these conditions, make no doubt about that. Eyes on the lights, engine notes rise, and away we go. And it's a bold start from Mike Coppin, pushing the limits, maybe a little bit of the tram lines there. We'll see. Rihanna Percox as well with a good start off of grid 3 there as they all work through turn 2 for the first time. Squirreling around a little bit. Jason Bradbury looked to have had a bit of a hard time on that on the outside, but look at the way that Mike Coppin and Rihanna Percox have gone away at the front here, as the rest, currently led by Archie Hobson, are left to fight over the scraps.
Saw a couple of spinners in the last heat in the wet conditions. Looks like this time everybody has made it through. Archie Hobson living on the edge there in the number 33. Hussein Rashid's got through into 3rd place. Now this has been a good start for Coppin and Percox. We had this semi-planned as well to just be at the front and pull away, get that gap, fight at the start. Number 43 getting a bit squirrely there. That was David Hamer.
Ooh.
Oh, someone's gone
Someone
very. It's Tom
on.
Dix. Tom Dix is off and in the grass now. If he can keep that going, that's okay. But if he stops, he's going to have to push that back on circuit. Come on, Tom. Oh, that is going to be stuck.
Oh, and he's got to get out.
You cannot be spinning his wheels on the grass, but that means Tom Dix is effectively out of this race.
3 wide there through the boot. Andrew, a little bit of a tap on the rear there. And I want to make clear, as someone's gone very wide there onto the curb, but they managed to save that one. I want to make clear here, the boot is deceptively difficult in the wet, because through the second part of the boot, there's a halfway line. You can see it actually in this shot, that line down the midpoint of the circuit. Going through the boot, the inside half of it, if you like, gets extremely greasy midway round, and you've just got to get very good at holding the slide, really. There's not really a good way of doing it. You've just got to sort of make it work. But it's very challenging, as there's a light tap there on the rear of
Lancaster into
it is,
Jason Bradbury.
Indeed. And Bradbury did well not to spin there himself, I think. Pietro Pagano now on the tail of Bradbury. Yeah, the other question is, right, if it's not raining, when does it start to dry out? And where does it start to dry out? As Bradbury's looking down the inside of Adrian Mertens now, but can't quite make it work. This little bit here is the bit where you can start to slide, but it looks to me like it's actually gripping up okay at the moment.
Yeah,
and they're still taking the dry line through paddock, notably. So, yeah, as there's a cone penalty for Jason Bradbury.
Lap times are coming down. 1 minute 10.290, the fastest lap of the race so far from Mike Coppin, the race leader, 1.2 ahead of Rihanna Percox. Archie Hobson, as we see there, has been confirmed in 4th place. Bradbury trying to find a way past Adrian Mertens.
The other thing as well with these things is when you're following another driver and you're trying that, we talk about how Christmas Corner has that slightly abrasive surface that can work for you on the far right-hand side of the track. If you're trying that and the other driver's doing the wet line, the bit where those two lines converge can be a bit of a heart-in-the-mouth moment for what would otherwise be a fairly conventional corner. So that's another thing that they've got to judge as well. So sometimes you'll see things that looks like a driver is trying a bombastic overtake, and actually they're just experimenting with a different line. And so long as there's it's one of those no harm, no foul things. You might get very close to making contact, but so long as you don't, maybe you learnt something that you can employ next lap to go faster.
Pietro Pagano, just to mention, had a big save on that last lap. He's still holding there in 7th place, but nearly threw it all into the grass on the exit, or to driver's left of Ingham. As you can see how hard the drivers are working here on the steering. It's one of the things that you sometimes have to do in these damp conditions, to work the tyres, to get them to grip, put that energy into it. You can see Jason Bradbury locking up a little bit as they went into Christmas Corner then. Archie Hobson still at the front of this trio in 4th place.
And to me, this shot looks dry. This shot right here looks pretty much dry. It's not,
indeed.
but notably it's drier than you know, it is starting to dry out more than other bits of the circuit. Will be much more. If you compare a shot of that compared to turn 2,
Bradbury's off. A long way off.
Yeah,
and he's got back on the circuit, but will surely have lost a lot of time there. There's been a cone penalty for Sean Glennon, who's currently the C3 leader. So if another C3 driver finishes just behind him, they will inherit his position,
as is currently the case. David Hamer there in 13th. So yeah, and Paddock to me looks like they're confidently taking the dry line through there now.
Yep.
So it's fascinating how these bits, and they'll go through into turn 2 now. And look how Adrian Mertens is going to have to work over the slippery outer line. You can see the dampness. Not standing water, it wasn't quite heavy enough to bring that about, but dampness certainly. And here are 2 different lines being trialled here, and that's what I was talking about, where lines can converge. Adrian Mertens might have had a slight sense then of, you are going to slow, right? The kart's going to... I'm trying to brake here. So yeah, Mike Coppin though doing exactly what he needed to do, isn't he, so far, Andrew, after that penalty-ridden race earlier on.
Yep.
To be leading this one as he is at the moment by 1.5 seconds, with Rihanna Percox as well. And their pace is just something else. They're 8 seconds to the good over Hussein Rashid in 3rd place.
It's a confidence thing in these conditions.
Yeah.
And both of those drivers have got that in bucket loads. Tom Dix, by the way, is still circulating. We saw him have that incident early in the race. He's just got back up to 18th place. C1 driver, but that's the
costly
for Tom Dix though, you know, because he needs to have, I can't remember what his result was from race number 1, his first race, but he definitely needs to have a strong run in his 3rd race, otherwise we're talking one of the lesser finals for someone who would be at least an underdog for a podium overall in the round here today.
Absolutely.
There's Archie Hobson, still running in 4th place. He's definitely driven in greasy conditions or wetter conditions than this in years gone by.
There's no finer initiation to wet conditions than competing in the BUKC, running as it does during winter and early spring months conventionally. Slightly unusual. Oh, and that's a tag on the tyres from Pietro Pagano there, so not sure if we might see a cone penalty coming in for him, but slightly different setup this year with the BUKC. There is a race meeting running in June, which is a little bit unusual, but yeah, usually you get plenty of rain in a standard BUKC campaign. Here, though, is Mike Coppin at the head of the field. Quick look over his shoulder, but it can't be because he feels there's a threat from behind, because he is comfortably ahead of Rihanna Percox, albeit she has just set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:03.4. So that's by some margin.
1.3 seconds out of Coppin on that last lap.
Yeah, so once again, Andrew, I feel like we're left asking, how would it have gone for Rihanna were there another couple of laps, to be honest, because her pace has just switched on. She's really found, you know, as this circuit is drying out, she's the one who's just pushing the boundaries of that at the moment.
Hussein Rashid still holding well in 3rd place. But again, this is a good response from Mike Coppin after a not so good first race. He looks a little bit frustrated out there. Has got back on the horse and piloted it to a race victory. Mike Coppin takes heat number 7 here at Whilton Mill. Double thumbs up there. Rihanna Percox takes 2nd place, her second place of the day. And Pietro Pagano fighting with Jason Bradbury. This is over 6th place. Into the final couple of corners. I think Pagano's going to have the inside line. Yes, he is. So Hussein Rashid takes 3rd. Very close on the line, though, with Adrian Mertens. Archie Hobson in 5th. Pietro Pagano 6th. Jason Bradbury 7th. Garrett Berry in 8th. Cameron Moss in 9th. Reese Pope wrapping out the top 10. Joshua Halloran in 11th place. In fact, no, Oscar Lancaster just got him on the line there. Halloran 12th. Sean Glennon in 13th. In my mind, that's a stroke of luck. The cone penalty will not remove his C3 victory because he will lose a position over Tom Dix, who's in C1. That was heat number 7. We're going to take another short break. Heat number 8 is out next. Here's your grid for the 8th of 12 heats here at Whilton Mill today. Steph Theodoru has pole position for this one. Stephen Westwood on the front row as well. Ed Bars needs a good result in this one. He starts on row 2 alongside Chris Woodger. Callum Birel and Rob Langthorpe are on row number 3. Alistair Irvine and Ashley White start this race from row 4, so 2 heat winners going for second heat wins from that row. Chris Powell and Steve Hicks are on row number 5. Bailey Morgan and Jonah Barker on row 6. Dan Cohen and Andrew Bushell are next up. I think Nana has withdrawn from the event, so I'm reading out the updated grid here. Next up, you've got Bushell and Everest. Luke Dunnett all into the C3s now. James Browning, Bryn Alban and Simon Sharp wrapping out the field. So the rain has stopped. Track drying. Wetsuits still the order of the day for our drivers.
But more rain due, according to us.
Excellent.
So there could yet be some more spice thrown into this one.
We are ready to go then. This is the last heat of the second rotation. Steph Theodoru in the number 85 takes us from pole position and will lead into turn 1. Ed Bars gets a good start, has already got second place off Stephen Westwood. All the understeer in the world as they go through the crook for the first time. Steve Hicks romps away side by side with Bailey Morgan, but here comes Ed Bars down the inside, number 1 to P1. Good start there from Ed Bars. That is just where he wants to be.
Yeah, and you could see that the circuit is certainly through this top section drying out significantly. As Andrew said, looking at the shot, although it looks dry, not entirely dry, but through this section of the lap, I think they are beginning to find a lot more confidence on that dry line. But they'll be discovering that anew, of course, because as Chris Woodger goes off onto the grass and Rob Langthorpe as well is into the tyres there as well. So a little bit of a ruckus there. Steph Theodoru now coming under sustained pressure here from Stephen Westwood over second place. Callum Birel in hot pursuit as well in the number 27 with Alistair Irvine. There's a bit of a Warwick stable motorcade there in 4th and 5th. Ed Bars leads, Steph Theodoru in second, Stephen Westwood, Callum Birel and Alistair Irvine, your top 5. As Westwood here is having a very earnest look for second place on Steph Theodoru.
On his stern, you have 2 of the highlighter trinity from Warwick out on circuit there at the moment. The only one missing, Ben Simpson and his very bright green race lid. Oh, there's contact there between the 81 and the 85, and that was a little bit clumsy and may offer the opportunity to Birel to get through, but he doesn't have the speed off the corner, so it's still status quo out there. Theodoru, Westwood, Birel, Irvine. 5.5 minutes of this one to go. Ed Bars in full control of it at the moment. I imagine he's more than 2.5 seconds clear of the rest of the pack now after this battling on lap number 2. Lap times holding around 67 seconds for a lap at the moment, so they are coming down. Here comes Steve Hicks though on Alistair Irvine, and on the scene is the 2019 Super Finals champion here in Club 100. Very decisive move there, gives the point forward. Chris Powell as well as side by side again, and a little more contact between Theodoru and Westwood as they go up through Christmas Corner. Down into Ashby, squirreling around trying to find where the grip is. Steve Hicks has split the 2 former Warwick ABkC drivers now. Can he make a move on Callum Birel? Westwood's a little bit wide there.
Everyone's bunching up onto the back of this. Bailey Morgan and Ashley White on the back of this train as well now, Andrew. So mistakes costing you all the more in many ways. If you go and select the wrong line for a corner, you may find yourself losing out quite heavily here as Steve Hicks begins to just turn the screw slightly on Callum Birel here in the pursuit of 4th place.
Yeah, and Westwood's been shuffled back in all of this. Keep an eye out for the number 18 of Ashley White. Already seen a race victory for Ashley White today. His pace is very good. 61, and oh, the track's come alive. The track's come alive. The lap times have just dropped by about 3 or 4 seconds, and wide goes Theodoru. He's saved it, but he's going to lose at least 2 positions. He's together with Westwood again.
And Christopher Powell's trying to make hay with that as well.
Yep.
Gets by in the number 56 on Westwood.
Ed Barr's trying to do everything he can to hold this lead. 2.4 seconds he has in his pocket at the moment.
Penalty for Ashley White, ABC bump and pass.
Yep. So that's +4 position for him as Hicks down the inside of Birel. A very nice move into the boot. Steve Hicks up to second place, but Birel, in fact, yeah, that's the sensible thing to do, Callum. Don't waste time trying to fight with Hicks. That's a little bit wide.
That was a little bit wide. Track limits are a bit of a concern here. Amazingly, mate, for my money, the pace just went back up again slightly.
Yeah.
That was a slightly slower lap, possibly whilst everyone was battling away.
It could be, or it could be that someone's run a little bit wide and dragged some water onto the circuit at a particular corner. That can happen sometimes.
Yeah, Theodoru here struggling. I think he's lost a bit of rhythm to his race, and he's now just lost out to Ashley White and to Chris Powell there. As Chris Powell is nerfed onto the grass a little bit there by, I don't think that Ashley White knew he was there, and actually that's allowed Steph Theodoru to go right back past again. Yeah,
that's one of the things that you've got to be aware of when you're in these conditions, and you know, doing those lines as Irvin's. That's a great move. If didn't quite get it done on the exit.
Couldn't get the traction. It's still a bit damp there.
Get the traction out the corner. That was the trouble when you go inside.
Yeah,
I liked the commitment there.
Side by side between Dan Cohen and Stephen Westwood going into the boot.
Cohen wins out in that duel. Bailey Morgan in there as well in the number 14. UPB's just gone in from Callum Birel, and the lap times have come back down again. We're now back into the 61s and the 62s, so the fastest drivers out there.
Yep.
Which Jonah Barker is currently the fastest, 61.684.
Which means he's onto the back of this train as well. So look out for the number 63, who was just at the back of your shot, as Alistair Irvin and Bailey Morgan go side by side through Christmas Corner, and Dan Cohen would like to get involved in that as well in the 34, but so would Stephen Westwood, funnily enough, and Cohen's a bit on the grass, got to bring that one together, and has a slight sideways moment, and there's pod-to-pod contact as well for good measure. It's all kicking off here. Meanwhile, back at the front, suddenly Ed Bars is under pressure here from Steve Hicks.
He is indeed.
And Hicksy must have really sensed these conditions well, Andrew, because Ed Bars, for a lot of this, was looking like a
2.5 seconds out front, but Hicks is absolutely on it here.
And Callum Birel has been very sensible and somewhat gone with him as well, because Callum Brule's within a second of these two.
So on to the final lap then. 6 down, 1 to go. Ashley White has just set to 60.925.
Interestingly, definitely taking a dry line through turn 2 there as the confidence gains for these drivers. Steve Hicks a bit too far back to try anything into Christmas Corner, but you can see he is gaining here on Ed Bars in that number 1.
Bars under good control. I just wonder, did Hicks sneak up on him? Was Bars taking this one easy and safely? And
did Bars try a line somewhere that just didn't work?
Possibly, yeah. See
trying around the outside of Wilkins. That's going to be interesting. There's going to be traction on the outside for Hicks here through Osiers, but is he going to be given the room? No, he's not. I figured that Ed Bars would probably shut the door in that manner.
Yeah, and there was a cone touch as well, so this may be maybe a penalty post race, but Ed Bars is going to hold on here for a race victory. He had to fight for that and work for that in tricky conditions, but the reigning champion gets another win in Club 100. Second on the road is Ashley White, third Steve Hicks, Callum Birel. Callum Birel maybe sat on a second place there if a penalty is handed out for the cone hit. Chris Powell 5th, Steph Theodoru 6th, Bailey Morgan 7th, Jonah Barker, Stephen Westwood, Alistair Irvin wrap out the top 10. Top C3 in that race in 14th place overall was Dean Everest.
Remember, Ashley White has a bump and pass penalty as well, so yeah, there's plenty going on there. That was the end of the second rotation. Heat number 9 is coming up right away here at Whilton Mill. Let's take you through the grid then for heat number 9 of this lightweight round 2. Keith Segal will start this one from pole with Chris Alcock alongside Reese Pope, and Joshua Halloran will make it row 2. Row 3 is Thomas Barrett and Mike Coppin. Row 4 is going to be Adam Wilden and Dan Healy, with Tom Dix and Matt Collier rounding out your top 10. Jack O'Neill and Daz Teal are on row number 6. Row 7 is going to be Tim Clark and Alex Brandon. Matt Hugo and James Dunnett make up row 8, with Matthew Cockram rounding out your 17 kart field for this one. Here they are on rolling up behind the pace kart. No warm-up in these conditions, which... no warm-up for these heat races post the first rotation, but the significance being that as the conditions change, you have no chance to warm up in this and get used to it. So, you know, if it's still damp on turn 2, tough luck. You gotta work it out as you approach for the first time under race pace. As there's the thumbs up from the pace kart driver. So we will be good to go this time around. Keith Segal in that number 58. A lot of experience. Chris Alcock in the number 4.
Ready to go then here for heat number 9. Last heat of the day for these drivers. So drivers needing results. Need to do it now. Away we go then. Keith Segal leads us into turn number 1 for the first time in this one. Chris Alcock tries a wider line through turn 2 to try and hold on to P2. I think he's done, in fact, he's done more than that. He's up the inside of Keith Segal on the run up to Christmas, and everybody's bumping and barging. I think there's a bit of loading coming from the midfield there, but Alcock will lead from Segal as they come through Inkermans.
And I'll tell you who I was watching through the first few corners. I'm still watching him quite intently. Jack O'Neill just positioned himself brilliantly during those first few corners.
Yep.
And he's already looking. He's going to try and put a move here down Thomas Barrett into Wilkins, and he's going to make that stick. And he's already up to something like 4th or 5th place just through good positioning for those first few corners. As there's definitely you could see that someone was going to go across the grass from a mile off there. They're still 4 wide on the back straight, but for the lead here, Reese Pope down the inside of Keith Segal as they head into the boot. And then Dan Healy and Mike Coppin are battling away, trying to find a way through, but there's nothing on for them at the moment. It wasn't for the lead, sorry, it's for second, because of course Chris Alcock is up the road by some 2 seconds.
Not quite sure what Reese Pope was gesturing about at that point. It's worth noting as well, Dan Healy getting ahead of Mike Coppin on that first lap. Healy started behind Coppin and is now through, but not particularly pleased about something there. He's past Segal though. It's him up to 3rd.
Yeah. And I think Coppin was trying to allow some people out. Just a little bit of a scruffy start this one. Yeah. Just a little bit of, you know, an absence of clean moves, I think is how I would summarise it. But as I say, judged well here is Jack O'Neill, now on the tail of Mike Coppin for 5th place. So just very interesting to see how our championship leader coming into today negotiates all this. As Dan Healy goes by on Reese Pope. So that'll be himself up to 2nd place now, and he can set about his pursuit of Chris Alcock, who is some 3 seconds up the road. As Reese Pope now, his rhythm somewhat upset by Dan Healy at the end of that one, is now having to fend off, it must feel like, absolutely everybody. Reese Pope and Daz Teal behind him going through Christmas Corner.
You can tell it's the last heat for a number of the drivers. There's a lot of gesturing going along.
Good point. First race of this 3rd rotation of heat, so this was every driver's last chance to get as many points as they can on the board for the championship and also for their optimum grid spot going into the finals. Lap times have now dropped below a minute, by the way, quite comfortably. I did spot one person, forgive me, I forgot who, one person did just on the last lap manage to dip below the 1 minute mark in the last race. We are now comfortably getting below that.
Might be National White, I think.
I feel like it was someone further down.
Oh, okay.
I'll double check.
4 minutes of this one to go. There's Mike Coppin and Jack O'Neill duelling over 3rd place. Jack O'Neill's had 2 race wins so far today, trying to make it a hat-trick, but he's got to get past 3 very quick drivers indeed. There's one of them. So Jack O'Neill past Mike Coppin for 3rd place.
Bit of housekeeping, it was Chris Woodger.
Thank you very much.
And that was a very similar incident between Jack O'Neill there and Mike Coppin. Not incident, similar move to something we saw between a certain Mr. Joe Holmes and Anwar Burrell Smith this morning, with the driver being run out wide. But that was just on the right side of it, where Jack gave the space.
Yep.
And Mike also backed out, and you know, various different opinions could be had on that incident this morning. Bit of a racing incident, bit of a, you know, we were in fact talking to Adam Wright in the break, who felt it was a bit of a racing incident and didn't know for certain there would be a penalty issue. There was a penalty issue to Joe Holmes in that instance.
Not on that one.
Not on that one, sorry. Apologies.
Although it's interesting that Adam thought it might have been for that one. He wasn't aware that Joe had got it for
the
monster curbing.
Yes, sorry.
And it very much played into how he approached that race.
Yeah, good point. Good point. So yes, sorry, it wasn't judged to be Joe Holmes' fault. It was a racing incident. But Holmes going on to get a penalty for that monster curb, as it's known, for the inside of paddock, which, as predicted, since we've had the rain, nobody's been getting a penalty for monster curb, because you want to stay well away from it when it's damp, although as the circuit dries out again. That's going to be one to watch. Here is your battle for the lead. Chris Alcock and Dan Healy. Lap times now down into the 56s. The circuit clearly drying out, but there's still some showers forecast. It really does depend on which forecast you look at, to be honest, at the moment.
Or Healy up alongside Alcock here, trying to get through for the lead of the race. Alcock squeezing him a little bit. That was close racing between two top drivers. But what that's done is it's brought Jack O'Neill properly into play now. And look at this. Look at this 5 at the front. This is a bit of a teaser before the A final of the quality of driver at the front of this race. Alcock, Healy, O'Neill, Coppin, Teal, they're all in there. Couple of laps to go for these drivers then. Can Chris Alcock hold out for this victory? Round the final corner he comes. Healy was quite strong through Oblivion and the Crook last time around. Got half an overlap, and it's decent again. And Alcock is squeezing him towards Fine Lady, but Healy's got the run underneath, and surely this time I think he's getting help from behind as well. Yes, he is. Dan Healy to the lead of the race here in heat number 9, and great driving as well by Jack O'Neill. Saw the door open, stuck his front bumper in it, and has got second place as a result. Yeah, brilliant judgment there. And still plenty of battle to go on for this last lap. That's Daz Teal with Chris Alcock in hot pursuit. 40 seconds to go then. This will be they'll be shown the final lap board this time around. There it is. Can Dan Healy hold on for this one? Can he stop Jack O'Neill getting... I'm pretty certain that Jack O'Neill, with these results, even as it stands, is going to have pole position for the A final. But can Dan Healy stop Jack O'Neill making a hat-trick of victories across the course of this afternoon? It would be our first hat-trick of heat wins in either heavyweights or lightweights of the season. It's not something you see all that often, but he is going to have to get by Dan Healy if he wants to make that happen, and he's running out of opportunities here, Andrew, as they come onto the back straight for the last time. Yeah, only a couple of opportunities into the boots and through the boots, you'd imagine, but O'Neill is simply not close enough, and Dan Healy is going to take a very, very good victory, a boost for him and arguably the field. Jack O'Neill can be beaten here today. Dan Healy takes heat number 9. Jack O'Neill second, but the fastest lap of the race on the last lap, 54.921. Mike Coppin, another strong result there in third. Fourth for Daz Teal, fifth Chris Alcock. Tom Dix in sixth. Will that be enough to see him through to the A final? We'll wait and see. Thomas Barrett, top C2 in seventh. Reese Pope, Joshua Halloran and Keith Segal all up in the top 10. Matthew Cochran, the top C3 there in 11th. We'll see all those drivers again in their respective finals later on in the day. Next up out on circuit is heat number 10. Moving on then to heat number 10. Cameron Moss has pole position. Dom Cliff also on the front row. Steve Hicks and Oscar Lancaster form up row 2. Steph Theodorou and Stephen Westwood are on row number 3. Andrew Rabbage and Martin Auger are on row number 4. Dan Seeger and Josh Adams row 5. Hussein Rashid and Ross O'Brien on row number 6. Simon Sharp and Andrew Bushell start this race from row number 7. Liam Rogers and Bryn Albin are on row number 8. James Browning and Bartek Brakonski are on row number 9. 18 karts are in the field.
We've had a comment coming in on YouTube from Nick Mason. Big shout out to Slavic and Whitehouse. I mean, David Whitehouse, both cameramen I raced against. Also keep up the good work with the coverage. Thanks, Nick. And yeah, a shout out to David and Slavic. And also to Jack, who's on the cameras as well today.
Yep, he is indeed, Jack Mitchell.
All the effort to bring you the coverage that we hope you're enjoying a lot here. Here we go then. Cameron Moss in the 55 leads them away, but it's a strong start from Dom Cliff there in the 11. But Steve Hicks gets an even better one there from 3rd on the grid and manages to get the better of him through the crook as they head up the hill for the first time. Still though, Cameron Moss under braking into Christmas corners. Somebody's going well off there. That was Oscar Lancaster, and that's been very costly for him because he had to gather it all up. I say well off, he did actually manage to keep it on the grey stuff, but it's put him far back into the field. Unfortunately, he's going to have to recover that one just a little bit. As Cameron Moss now coming under serious pressure from Steve Hicks, who's thinking about it down the inside, and that's a bold move as well there from Josh Adams. It is Josh Adams, he's just in his rain suit. We've got to adjust as everyone changes their clothes over the course of the day when it's this kind of weather.
And changes them back as well. I think we're in that,
yeah, exactly.
point of the day where some have gone with rain suits, some haven't. So Steve Hicks, has he got the run up the inside into turn 1? Oh, side by side through oblivion. Very, very close indeed, and a brilliant switchback there by Steve Hicks. He's going to have the run up and he's going to have the lead even before Christmas corner. So Steve Hicks to the front of the field here at Whilton Mill.
I think that shows his confidence, but I think also that shows how the track is developing.
Yeah.
To have the grip to be able to do that switchback like that is indicative of quite how it's drying out. Steph Theodoru now is challenging Cameron Moss over 2nd place. Meanwhile, behind them, side by side, goes Hussein Rashid and Andrew Rabbage.
Dan Seeger in there as well, in number 28.
Yeah, and Oscar Lancaster there as well. So it's all quite close up in the lower part of the top 10 here.
Simon Sharp, by the way, has had a good start in C3, up 2 positions to 12, leading in that category. Over start finish we go then. Steve Hicks confirmed as your new leader, 0.8 of a second ahead of Cameron Moss. Steph Theodoru, and then this driver here, Hussein Rashid, in 4th place, side by side for 2nd place. Here comes Steph Theodoru up the inside of Cameron Moss, and through he goes. Steph Theodoru will be looking forward, I think, to the next round, which is down at Lid. Circuit I saw he was doing a bit of running up recently in a Steve Super GT Brown video. We were doing some testing. I want to say senior ROTAX, apologies if I'm wrong on that one, but Dan Seeger goes down the inside of Hussein Rashid.
A bit of opportunism as well from Rabbage, who sees the opportunity here and is going to try down the inside and is going to make it stick. That's a cheeky little move there from Andrew Rabbage, but it developed nicely for him. Josh Adams getting involved as well in the number 9, and round the outside of Rabbage as well into oblivion. That's bold. And actually that puts Rabbage out wide into turn 2, which allows Hussein Rashid and Oscar Lancaster to get back at him. Nice little exchange there. Just shows the ebb and flow of go-kart sprint racing, the likes of which is definitely helped by the layout here at Whilton Mill that allows that kind of, I was like to talk about the dogfight element. It allows good battling around this circuit.
3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Steve Hicks continues to extend his lead. There's number 61 of Andrew Rabbage onto the back straight. Josh Adams, really, really good form here today. You've seen there in number 9. Oscar Lancaster has recovered well from that little half spin that he had on lap 1. Still holding there in the top 10.
I do just want to comment how good it is to see how many Class 3 runners we have here today, as Dan Seeger's going down the inside of Steph Theodoru and makes it stick. So that is an exchange for 2nd place there. Cameron Moss still keeping himself in the fight here in 4th place in the number 55. But every race, it feels like there's 6 or 7 Class 3 runners, and that's great. That means that we've got some plenty of newcomers this year.
Newcomers with pace very quickly out the box with
That's
a few sessions, and you know, those are your drivers that you give them a couple of years, they become your top C2 drivers. Some of them, you know, even C1 drivers. In years gone by. So absolutely echo your sentiments there, Howard. It's very good to see.
Could be we've got one heck of a C final as well. Yeah. There might be some bit of a Class 3 derby there, and I'm perhaps being slightly harsh because, as you say, we've seen some great pace from our Class 3s today. We could be featuring prominently in the B final as well, and who knows? We have seen Class 3s get through to the A final before as well. We'll talk about the promotion system in a moment when we get to it. Steve Hicks leads by some 3.5 seconds at this point.
Yeah, he's properly under control of this race. It's a race for 2nd place now, but saying that, Dan Seeger himself has pulled away from this pack. There's a yellow flag there. Was that the number 70? I hope it wasn't the number 77. I saw Simon Sharp spinning in the background, because if it was, he's lost the lead in C3. It might have been the 67 of Liam Rogers. We'll confirm that on timing in a few moments' time. Across start finish. 2 laps to go for the leaders. Here's your battle for 3rd place. Steph Theodorou ahead of Cameron Moss. It was Simon Sharp. Oh, Simon has lost the lead in C3.
Oh, as Josh Adams was trying to tuck under Cameron Moss at the same time as Cameron Moss in the end tried to put a move on Steph Theodorou. It didn't pay off. It's allowed Josh Adams to go, and Hussein Rashid wants to buy in as well, and he's gotten a return on investment there as well, as has Oscar Lancaster coming through. This has all got a bit frantic on the penultimate lap of the race. Oscar Lancaster now ahead of Hussein Rashid, and Josh Adams is bouncing across the grass and loses out again. Oh, frantic stuff here. You can, as you were saying earlier, you can sense that it's the last heat race for these drivers. They want the best points, the best position they can get into those finals, and well, they might. This could be the difference between, the C final and the B final, and the B and the A.
And you see 2 drivers, they could be in one or 2 mindsets of protecting the points. They could be on the basis of, I've had 2 okay races, I really need to go for it in this next one to get myself into an A final. Otherwise, they're going to be in the B. I think it all starts to play into these races and makes them a little bit more rough and tumble.
I think that was Andrew Rabbage and Cameron Moss going side by side in the back of shots. No, it wasn't. It was he and
Lancaster down the inside of Theodorou. Sorry, Howard.
It's all right.
Going for 3rd place. Did he get the position? No, look, they're side by side, 3 wide. As Adams and Rashid trying to fight through. There's a little bit too much pod-to-pod contact. And Theodorou's been left to dry on the outside there, quite literally. Andrew Ravage now having a go. We are on the last lap, and there is a Steve Hicks winning in Club 100. Once again here at Whilton Mill. We said he's the Whilton Mill specialist, and he's taken a very, very convincing victory. I am just going to check. It is his 3rd heat victory of the season so far. Dan Seeger 2nd, Josh Adams 3rd, Oscar Lancaster and Hussein Rashid wrap out the top 5. Steph Theodorou, Andrew Ravage, Cameron Moss, Don Cliff and Stephen West with the top 10. Ross O'Brien was your top C3 runner. Quick break. Heat 11 heading out now. Their race is up next. Here's your grid for heat number 11. Rogerio Mendes and Garrett Birel on the front row of the grid for this one. James Martin and Darry Sims, row 2. Chris Woodger and Callum Brewell are on row number 3. Tony Philbin and Archie Hobson are on row 4. Rhianna Percox and Jason Bradbury, row 5. Pietro Pagano and Rob Langthorpe on row number 6. Adrian Mertens and Peter Sharp form up the 7th row of the grid. Finn Farrow and Luke Dunnett are on row number 8. Russell Cooper and Dean Everest are on row number 9. And that's Samuel Essery and Aaron Stillwell are on row number 10.
Penultimate heat then for our lightweights. And looks like we're going to be good for a start this time around. Mendes in the 101. Has been nice and interactive with us on the chat today.
He has.
So thanks for that. And let's
Not
see
now,
how he gets
obviously.
on. No, don't. If you interact now, I shall be slightly perplexed and concerned. But no, do keep your comments coming in.
Green lights there for heat number 11. Away we go. Mendes and Berry into turn 1. It's a great start for Garrett Berry. He's going to lead as they run up to Christmas corner in this one.
Unusual.
Darry Sims has also got up to second, so very rare. The anti-pole side of the grid. Getting a flyer. Callum Brewell up the inside of a driver and goes into 4th place. James Martin on the move as well. Jason Bradbury trying to make a move on Chris Woodger. It's all happening there in the midfield. That's a great start though, Howard, for Berry. He's going to be very pleased with this lead.
Absolutely, mate.
Who's Harry?
Conflation of Berry and Howard, to be fair. I wonder if there was an issue maybe, or Mendez's car just bogged down, because it wasn't just, the pole side didn't get away as well as we've been seeing. James Martin from grid 3 did fine.
Yeah.
He just seemed to really not have the grunt up the hill there for Mendez. So I wonder if just his kart bogged down or reactions. I don't know what it was, but it was not the start that he would have wanted to that one. Garrett Berry leads though at the end of lap 1. Darry Sims in 2nd, James Martin in 3rd. Callum Brewell there in pursuit in the number 27. And down the inside is trying Darry Sims, but he hasn't quite got the pace there, and they're both going to go out wide. James Martin clatters into the side of them, and that's going to allow Callum Brewell to have a look in, but I don't think he can do anything with it as they head down into Ashby. Meanwhile, Rihanna Percox is trying to get by a few people. I think that was her executing a move on Chris Woodger in the background.
Yeah, Rihanna making more good overtakes, having a strong day. Darry Sims down the inside again of Garrett Berry. Can go? No, there goes a Colin. Yeah. That was always going to happen once again, and that's the result. Look how many positions Berry has lost now. James Martin's come through, Callum Brewell's come through. Contact warning for Darry Sims, but the overtake was okay. Berry back down the inside, little nibble of the curb, and still lots of water being kicked up in the cattle grid curb on the exit of paddock. Side by side, and here comes Rihanna Percox through the pack, demoting James Martin there.
I'm not surprised. If I was James Martin, I would be. He was bolder than I would be, having gone through the cattle grid and seen the water sprayed up. I would have been a bit more, a little bit more humble through turns 1 and 2, to be honest. But he managed to hold on to it. Fastest lap of the race with Deed Everest, Class 3 runner in 15th at the moment, a 56.8. As everyone improves their lap times, the conditions improve here. Rihanna Percox fighting away with Garrett Berry, who gets as close to those tyres without hitting them that I've seen all weekend. And Chris Woodger goes for the Joker lap.
Very, very nearly takes out the cone on 2 counts there. The cone living a charmed life on that particular lap. Darry Sims, though,
it's quite different from all other laps.
Yes. Darry Sims has not had a heat win so far this season. He did take a 2nd place at Clay Pigeon.
Yep.
There he is in the lead of this race. Callum Brewell just behind.
I've got to say,
whose best results in a heat so far, well, at least before today, was a 6th place.
Yep. Got to say, for 2 of her heats so far today, we have been there going, if there was another few laps, Rihanna Percox might have won. This time, she's in 3rd place quite early, as we're looking at James Martin and Garrett Berry going side by side, but Berry's able to hold on to it for now. Driving well so far, I have to say, is Garrett Berry in the number 60. As Adrian Mertens there tries down the inside of Archie Hobson. Hobson's going to hold on to it there, unless Mertens can tuck underneath. He can, and he's going to make that stick. That was perfectly executed. That was brilliant positioning. He's going to run wide a little bit there, so he's got to be careful of that. Look at the track limit warnings on that digi-flag as they all go under it, and they are coming in. There's one there for Adrian Mertens, funnily enough, as our lead battle heads up towards the top of the hill at Christmas Corner. Darry Sims in the 44, Callum Brewell in the 27, and Rihanna Percox in the number 5. Highest placed of the Class 1 runners in this at the moment. There's a penalty for Finn Farrow in the 97 for taking out another competitor, which I have to assume is Luke Dunnett, who's dropped to the back of this one.
Yeah, not good news for the driver in the number 37 there. He's 30 seconds off the leader now. Here is your leader, Darry Sims, the number 44. 2 classic British World Champion numbers racing against one another here, 44 and 5.
I thought Rihanna was going to get a mega switchback through the boot then, but there wasn't quite the space for her to convert that in the way that we saw Adrian Mertens do a few laps ago.
Callum Brule keeping it in there as well, having a cracking race in the number 27 in 3rd place.
Cone penalty for Jason Bradbury. There's quite a lot of cone penalties actually.
Yeah.
I know the conditions is there for the lead. There's Rihanna Percox down the inside at Ashby and gets by on Darius Sims. Nice move there, and it puts Percox up into the top spot.
Does indeed. There was a yellow flag out coming into the boot last time around. Let's see if it's yes, it has now been cleared. Just a bit of track furniture replacement. Hello again to Greg Smith. Afternoon, chaps. Back home now and watching the lights. Great to have you with us, Greg.
Hello to Fabio Ramos. I interpret from that comment is watching from Brazil.
International audience. We always love to have that support. I know there's been a few people asking, is Steve Super GT Brown racing here today? He's not today, but you should definitely subscribe to the Alpha Live YouTube channel because there is stuff coming up in the next few weeks where he will be racing. So
yes.
There was never a reason for you personally to click that subscribe button. Super GT fans, there it is. That's the reason.
To round out the comments, got to agree with Kim at the moment. It is class driving from Rihanna. She's doing a brilliant job. She's been knocking on the door of a heat win all throughout today so far, and as she goes on to the last lap, if she can hold it together for one more tour of the circuit, and she starts it in style by setting the fastest lap of the race, she is on for finally converting into a victory.
And it's going to be a good grid slot as well.
Yes.
Second, first. That is going to be surely on the top 2 rows of the grid for the A final.
Yep, as Garrett Berry is still defending against James Martin. I'm very impressed by this from Garrett in 4th place here during this race. I think he did collect the cone at some point potentially, but yeah, he's really driving well here, positioning his car nicely to put off James Martin. I've not seen the Class 1 runners rising up the field in this one, as perhaps on average we would expect.
Indeed. Leaders coming into the boots for the final time in this one. Next time we'll see all of these drivers will be the final, but Rihanna Percox is going to make it 3 top 2s out of 3 with a win there in heat number 11. Darius Sims in 2nd place, 3rd place for Callum Brule, 4th for Garrett Berry, which I think will convert into a top 3 because Darius Sims has a penalty. James Martin in 5th, Adrian Mertens in 6th, Pietro Pagano 7th, Rob Langthorpe, Archie Hobson and Chris Woodger wrap out the top 10. Samuel S.r.o finishes in 11th as top C3 runner again. Another good race. One more heat to go then for our lightweights. Heat number 12 is next out on circuit. Last heat of the whole round. Here's your grid for it. I think we've got a change because the driver known as Nana, which I think is just Daniel Cohen, because he's the number 34, is on the front row alongside Bailey Morgan. Peter Knight and Jonah Barker row 2, Ramanas Sakauskas and James Wattis row 3. Jed Toole and Ed Bars are on row number 4. Christopher Powell and Alistair Irvin on row number 5. Ned Douglas and Andrew Ward start from row number 6. Ashley White is the last of our C1, C2 runners. Then we're into the C3s. Amy Breacher on row 7 there. Jagjit Singh and Sean Glennon on row 8. David Hamer and Matthew Cliff on row number 9. And Samuel Morrison is on row number 10. Does that mean that Nana is not real?
Well, I didn't want to ask this because I don't want to disrespect anyone, but it doesn't just stand for not applicable on the name entry, does it?
Is it like first name, last name?
Because you know when we sign on,
yes,
virtually, if you're not bringing a spectator, they just say, right, NA in the box.
Could be.
Anyway, there we go. Is Dan Cohen in the number 34. Bailey Morgan alongside for one last time in the heats at least. It's eyes on the lights, engine notes rise, and away we go. Even start from both sides of the grid. Peter Knight goes side by side with Jonah Barker through turn 2, and it goes the way of Jonah Barker for now as Dan Cohen leads them up the hill for the first time. And Bailey Morgan retains 2nd place. James Wattis is trying to get involved there. And Ed Barr's there in 6th place. He's going to find a cheeky way through. James Waters seems to stumble across the curb there through Boxing Day corner. Alistair Irvine able to capitalise and get himself up into 6th place as they all work their way through the mid-sector for the first time. Barr's now on the tail of Jonah Barker. Christopher Powell there going side by side with Raminas Sakauskas through Oziers, but I think someone else is putting in their joker lap early.
Bit of an interesting situation this for Ed Barrs, because he had a very good second race, of course, took a race victory. But
great pass, by the way, sorry.
Very good. But didn't have a good first one.
Yeah.
Gets a solid result in this one. He's in the A final, but you know he wants to be as far up that A final grid as possible. So still has got to get a really strong result in this one to kind of recover the issue that he had earlier in the day. Number 36, Alistair Irvine going down the inside of Peter Knight there for what was that, 5th place.
Yeah.
And James Wattis
not too
is
happy.
gesticulating again and is now in 7th place.
Now coming under pressure from Andrew Ward. But yeah, I've got to say as well, Ed Barrs finished 5th at Clay Pigeon, which by his extremely lofty standards set last season,
it's not where he wants to be.
No, if he's going to take the fight for the championship here to retain his title, it is going to have to be a little bit better than that.
But Ed Barr's going for the lead here around the outside of Daniel Cohen. Very impressive indeed.
Do you think he heard me?
I think it is. You are going out over the tunnel at the end of the day.
This is true. Didn't think we were turned up that loud though.
Ed Barrs leads then. Dan Cohen second, Bailey Morgan. All contact between Morgan and Jonah Barker, and I don't think Morgan's going to be too happy about that, especially as Alistair Irvine's come through as well, and Peter Knight. So that really didn't work for either the 63 or the 14, because they both lost at least 2 positions out of that. And Bailey Morgan goes round, catches it, great 360, but I think has got every right to be quite aggrieved there with the driving standards from the number 63.
Yeah, I can understand his grievance. I have to say though, if karting doesn't work out for him, get yourself down to Liddon Hill. That was quite stylish, really.
Yes.
Yeah, so costly moment there for Bailey Morgan.
Got a ABkC graduates battle out on circuit at the moment. Daniel Cohen, formerly of Aston University, and Alistair Irvine of Warwick. I was going to make a comment about, in fact, Alistair Irvine's going to completely interrupt me there by going round the outside.
That was good.
Very, very nice indeed. Peter Knight is coming through though and trying to take both of them.
Very strong on the brakes there was Irvine. He braked much later than Peter Knight, gained a bit of breathing space on him in the braking zone, so very strong on the brakes at the moment.
I was going to make a comment about was the whole NANA thing, if it is NA, you know, to do with Aston University students being able to fill in boxes on electronic systems, but you know, I won't do that at all.
Which uni did you go to?
Birmingham.
So into the boot goes Alistair Irvine in 3rd place. He has the close attentions of Peter Knight in the 102 as they swoop through the final corner on this now blissfully dry again Whilton Mill circuit. The rain that was forecast, the additional rain that was forecast, has not materialised yet, at least. Might that be an extra little zing that's added to the finals as we go into them? Peter Knight tries down the inside of Alistair Irvine. He's matching Irvine on the brakes into Christmas corner this time around and makes it stick. Gets himself up into 3rd place. There's Ed Barrs, your leader. And, sorry, I said 3rd place. 2nd place, indeed, it is for Peter Knight, because they both got by Dan Cohen a lap or so ago. As you can see there, Bailey Morgan on the recovery a little bit after his off-track escapades a few laps ago. And now, here's a question. What is the pace of Peter Knight like? Now he's in clean air, trying to chase an Ed Barrs.
Have we mentioned a penalty for James Wattis for track limits? So that would be going over the white line too many times on last corner. There is Peter Knight, confirmed in 2nd place. Track limit warning as well for Dan Cohen, number 34. Andrew Ward, I really hope I'm not going to commentate a curse this now. Andrew Ward having a very strong day, in 6th place at the moment. Just see him there at the back of your shot. Christopher Powell in the number 56 trying to chase him down.
Don't commentate, he knows where you live.
He does know where I live.
He will not thank us if we manage to commentate a curse our endurance teammate. But yeah.
Wouldn't be the first time.
No. No.
There's the number 13.
Sikauskas trying to chase James Wattis, but right now having to worry a bit more about what's behind him.
Promoted up to C2 this season, of course.
Yes, good point. And with a Class 3 runner on his tail in the form of Sean Glennon. Have we seen a penalty? No, it was in a previous heat we saw a penalty for Glennon, I think.
New fastest lap of the race in from Peter Knight, 54.371. 1 minute and 15 seconds of this one to go. Good battle this over 9th place.
Yep.
Sikauskas goes defensive again as number 18 of Ashley White.
All three classes.
Who won a heat earlier on today.
Yes.
Oh, did I just see a decapitation, possibly, by the number 18?
Of a cone.
Don't
panic, folks. Good battle.
I don't like to see that.
Good battle
we do.
between Ned Douglas and Jagjit Singh in the background of this as well. The swap positions, you'll see that just in the back of shot. Number 19 of Ned Douglas. And yeah, some good battles further down. Jed Toole and Sam Morris on that last lap just got past Amy Breacher. That's in the battle over 16th, 17th and 18th place. As our leader, Andrew's on to the final lap.
Is indeed. Ed Bars, another very assured drive here. There's been an overtake there by Christopher Powell. He's got past Andrew Ward for 6th place. But this is exactly what Ed Bars would have wanted. He's still not going to be at the very sharp end of the field because he still had that incident in his first race where he finished, I want to say, about 8th. But he's responded very, very well. He's responded like a champion with 2 first places as long as he can see out the rest of this lap. Peter Knight continues to be very, very strong here at Whilton Mill. He's going to take 2nd place. But Ed Bars round the final corner is going to take victory here in heat number 12. There he is, another win for the champ. Peter Knight, a future champ in the making? Possibly. He takes P2, Alistair Irvine P3. Jonah Barker is 4th on the line ahead of Dan Cohen, Chris Powell and Andrew Ward. James Wattis in 8th. Ramanas Sikauskas does hold on to 9th. Sean Glennon, top C3 runner and in the top 10 there. Very, very impressive indeed. And that, Howard, brings an end to all of the heats here today at Whilton Mill.
Yep. And they've been thoroughly entertaining, I think.
Yeah, they've been very, very good. All afternoon here with the lightweights. Keep your comments coming in. Hello to Nathan Hurd, who was cheering on Sam Morris in that last race. Got a 17th place finish. And I'm enjoying C3 today.
Yeah.
Sam Morris there in C3. It's been really, really competitive.
And I'm hoping we're going to be able to give them quite a showcase up next in the C final. But as I say, I might be doing them a disservice there. They may. Several of them qualified up into B. Interesting comment coming in from Rogero Mendes. Not sure what was going on with my kart there. Was well off the pace, disappointed. Yeah, it's rare. Yeah, it has to be said. It's very rare, and amongst Club 100 crew do a great job of race preparing these karts. But yeah, we did see Mendes very slow up the hill from that pole position start. We noted that at the time. So some kind of issue there that befell him with that one. And yeah, do keep your comments coming in. It's great to have the interaction with people via the stream. Do keep your comments coming in. Do let us know who you're supporting. And if you're not already, please hit the subscribe and the notification bell on the Alpha Live YouTube channel. And whilst you're doing so, why not give Double Dash Motorsport Media the old subscribe as well. You won't regret it. You shouldn't regret it over the next week. We've got plenty of esports action coming.
Yep, Tuesday night, 9 PM, Gran Turismo Sports Club 100 drivers who have their little championship organised by I say little, it's not little at all, it's a 2-division thing now with promotion and relegation.
It's quite big.
Organised by Sam Dimolo. So that's Tuesday night, 9 PM. Division 1 will be on the DDMM channel. Division 2 will be on the DW Media channel, hosted by David Whitehouse. And
who stood behind this camera.
Yes.
Yes.
And then Wednesday night, we'll be back 7:15 PM for round 6 of the 2021 Legends of Club 100 and ABkC iRacing Championship. Josh Ladd, your championship leader in that one, will be at Barcelona, Circuit de Catalunya in the Ferrari GT3s.
I wonder which. Are we using the reprofiled corner in Barcelona?
No, we're using the proper one.
Yes.
That stupid chicane will not be in action. Well, if it is, someone's going the wrong way. But
Joker lap.
No
Saying
annoying rubbish chicane on in the last sector of circuit.
And there's the reprofiled one at the end of the back straight now that we're not using as well. Because they were racing with a different one there the other week.
Yes, that one I didn't mind so much because that's basically just put it back to what it was in 2000. Well, it's a new profile. It's not new at all.
It's not new. You've just
put it back.
You've painted the lines differently. But there we go. Shout out to my nephew Jagjit Singh coming in from here at 89 s.r.o. Yeah, he's doing all right in that one. He had a good few battles and was the second highest Class 3 runner in that last heat. So be interesting to see how he lines up on the grid for the C3, the C final. If you're wondering, by the way, we are waiting for the grids for that. That's what's happening at this point. That's why there's a pause in proceedings. Everybody has their points tallied up and they work out the grids for our A, B and C final. Great to see the healthy grid sizes that mean that we have all three finals very strongly populated, as you will see. If you've been watching, I said this with the heavyweights this morning, if you've been watching, you know, but this grid only has 17 karts on it, 18 karts. What do you mean it's really healthy? I've seen more karts than that race around Whilton Mill. Wait to see how long the grids are when we get into the finals, because suddenly it all makes a bit more sense then.
We've had a few new subs on the DDMM YouTube channel. Unfortunately, because of the way YouTube works, it's not telling me who you are. But if it is you, thank you very much.
Works there is used as a loose term. The way YouTube operates on that particular aspect of it.
Moving swiftly
I won't say that, Moan, sorry. That particular aspect. But yes. We do wish it would tell us. But yes, I think we've got grids anyway for the lightweights finals.
So whilst that's being loaded up, we'll bring things to an end here in the heats. Next out on circuit is going to be your lightweight C final. Getting ready then for the C final. Top four from this race go into the B final. Amy Breger has pole position for the C final. Ramona Sakauskas alongside on the front row. Jed Toole and Keith Segal on row 2. If those drivers are able to hold on to those positions, they will progress forward to the B. Trying to stop them, trying to get in, will be the likes of Joshua Halloran and Bryn Albans starting on the third row of the grid. Martin Auger and Dean Everest start from the fourth row of the grid. That's a decent row to start this race from. They can do something from there. Andrew Bushell and Finn Farrow wrap out the top 10. Russell Cooper and Jagjit Singh are on row number 6. Alex Brandom and Peter Sharp will start from row number 7. Adam Wheeldon in the C final on row 8. Now that is a surprise for me. David Hamer alongside him on that 8th row. Tony Philbin and James Dunnett on row number 9. Tim Clark and Matt Hugo are on row number 10. James Browning and Luke Dunnett are on row number 11. Bartek Barankowski and Matthew Cliff are on row number 12. Sam Morris and Ross O'Brien on row 13, Simon Sharp and Liam Rogers on row 14. Well, that is an intriguing grid. And I think it's going to be a very competitive race.
And I just checked as well, Andrew.
Yep.
If you finish the highest C3 in this one, you wouldn't even be on the podium for that class.
Wow.
We have 4 Class 3 runners in the B final.
Having said that, though, you do have a chance of getting a podium in C3 by racing through. There is John Weiger inspecting the circuit. I have to say, the shorts, wonderful to see him in the paddock, particularly yesterday. I thought that was a brave decision, considering how cold and wet it was, but...
no, it's tactical. Any good Boy Scout tell you that. Your skin dries quicker than your clothing does.
But if you've not watched one of these C finals before, we may commentate on this in a slightly different way, because the key position in this race is 4th, which, I say, if you're new to this one, you're thinking, what? No, we don't really care who wins the race or finish 2nd and 3rd, because they progress through to the B final. 4th also progresses through to the B final. 5th does not.
So I'm just reflecting on the fact we're going over the tannoy. I don't know if JV's questioning his life choices.
JV,
He's now getting fashion praise on a tannoy at a major UK karting circuit. But, there we go.
So we saw some interesting tactics this morning, which actually worked out for the driver in question. It was Jason Bear, who was being very, very defensive in 2nd place. I was like, oh, you don't want to do that. But he made it through.
He did.
So, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how the lightweights play this. But essentially, I'll still stick by my tactics of if you're 1st, 2nd, 3rd or 4th, and there's a gap behind you, if you've gapped 5th place, work together, progress up the road, solidify those top 4 positions, have a little battle, by all means, later on in the latter stages, but get the qualification into the B final secured first. That's the important bit about this race.
I think that's why I'm so interested by the sheer number. Have we ever commentated on a race that's got a grid this large, but with a proportion of novice drivers this big? And are they going to know that tactical play? Well, it's not. I mean, they're not. I would say they'll have probably watched around before, but you know what I mean. There'll be. Will there be as much tactical thought behind the race here, or will it be all about getting the points?
Well, Amy's raced for quite a few rounds, because I've seen her race in some of the Saturday competitions. I remember she was at PFI in the special event last summer. Ramanas, Jed, Keith. All experienced drivers. It's that 4th place and how that's all going to play out. And then you take into consideration you've got a driver in the form of Adam Whilton, whose sheer pace is not C final pace. I'm not quite sure what's happened to Adam there for him to be in that position, but I would not be surprised if we see Adam come through this field. Now, if he gets all the way up to 4th, that remains to be seen, and he's also got to do it cleanly, which, we saw that earlier. You can rule yourself out of a promotion into the next final straight away if you pick up an ABkC bump and pass, because it's 4 positions. So this is going to be a very interesting race, longer race as well. It's 12 minutes, so there is time to. I mean, we've seen with the 8-minute heats, there is time to play out a strategy. You don't have to go banzai for every single overtaking manoeuvre on every single corner of every single lap. You can pick your moments to come through cleanly, and there's even more chance of that in this final. But away they go in grid order. No practice laps ahead of a C final. So out on circuit they go. Conditions still dry. The clouds continuing to threaten here at Whilton Mill.
Conditions still dry, but sky still ominous.
Yeah.
Is how I would describe it. Although that shot looks a bit more scenic, but that looks to me like a bit of a foreboding cloud look in the background.
The key bit will be, what's the wind doing? Is that cloud aiming towards us, or skirting around us, or away from us?
There's a few drivers who. I love the way that rain suits are sort of.
Good shot of flags. That means I think that cloud's going away from us. I think that's what we had earlier. Although saying that, my sources are saying 15 minutes to the next.
I'm not convinced, because they're blowing away from camera, and the ominous cloud was behind David on the camera as we were looking at it, I thought.
Remain to see.
We may both be failing. We may be failing a spatial awareness test right here live on air.
One of us is. C final ready then. Amy Breacher on pole position in the blue and pink suits there. Black and pink lid. Good chance for a B final here. Just got to get eyes forward of the front row. Not fight too hard. 12 minutes on the clock. Lights are green. Away we go for the C final. Amy Breacher leads into the first couple of corners. Jed Toole trying to hold around the outside of Ramanas Sakauskas there, and has got the job done. Good start for Jed Toole, up to P2 straight away. Side by side for 4th between Halloran and Segal. Is everybody going to get through Christmas corner? Yeah, just about. It's a good start for those at the front of the field.
And if there's one person when I was talking about, it's quite a novice field. If there's one person with the experience to know what to do, Keith Segal is the man.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. He's been racing in Club 100 for a very long time. I'm still getting used to him not being in his old Firestone suits, though. Having raced against Keith
I think we're
quite
into
a few times in my early years in Club 100.
I know what you mean. I think we're into the second season of him wearing it, though. We better
Still
we need to swat
wrong.
up.
Still feels wrong. Many a time I've been behind that Firestone suit thinking, oh no, I've got to get past Keith. He's a firm racer, loves his racing. Great to see him back here for another season of Club 100 Sprints. So the situation end of lap 1, top 3 are clear. They need to work together now. They're already being closed in by Segal and Halloran. Down the inside there goes the number 16, that's Bryn Alban. Getting past Dean Everest. So we've got a race on here, Howard. This is not going to be one of those where the top 4 run away. It's, oh no, off and out goes Bryn Alban. Got it all wrong downhill into Ashby Corner. It's so easy to do, and he will not be progressing through to the B final. And I believe there's spots of rain. So yeah, the rain may already be here. And this is going to make this very, very tricky now for the drivers.
It may literally just be a light spitting, though, to be honest with you. May have melted away quickly. We're basing that partially off of Ruggiero Mendes putting a comment out there a few moments ago, but honestly it could have melted away as quickly as it came, but we'll see. Tucking underneath Breacher, though, at the moment, though, Jed Toole trying to find a way, prise open the door, and it looks like he's got the job done as they break into Christmas Corner, and that is a change for the lead as Keith Segal behind them is doing battle with Joshua Halloran at the moment. And well, he might, because that is for the last of the promotion spots. As now Ramidas Sakauskas has a look at Amy Breacher, but she's able to fend off for now through Wilkins.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation, this, for many reasons. I think the one in particular that's in my mind at the moment, because it's close at the front, you know, there's not a guaranteed, oh, we've broken away, this is all good now. Your drivers in like that 3rd and 4th place position, they get a bit tetchy. On the example of, I don't want to be here, I'm in the danger spot. If I get overtaken, I'm not going to be in the B final. And that kind of makes them a bit more punchy to try and get into 2nd or 1st. Now, what's key at this moment is it looks like Toole and Breacher have broken away. If they keep working together, they're in a good position. They can get through to that B final, no problems. That again is going to make this race for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th even more tense, because that hope of getting further ahead is no longer there for the likes of Ramanas in 3rd and Joshua there in 4th.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Good stuff here for Amy Breacher. Staying on the back of Jed Toole here. At the moment in the pound seats for the promotion. Fastest lap of the race with Martin Auger at the moment as he tries to work his way into this, and I think that's the thing, Andrew. There are still a few drivers that I've got my eye on working their way up through the field here. I don't think this is going to be a done deal.
David Whitehouse has just confirmed to me what happened to Adam Whelan. He was DQ'd in one of his heats for being underweight.
Oh dear.
So that is why he's that far down the order and not even in the B final at the moment. It's only 11th place for the C2 driver.
But did just move up, got past Luke Dunnett a couple of laps ago, I saw. As now down the inside of Segal, that was a look from, was that Auger?
I think it was Dean Everest. It was number 20 in the green and yellow. In the, yes,
it was, sorry, yep, Dean Everest, and there now is Auger having a look in the 68.
And what are we going with? Norwich City colours for Dean Everest there? Lotus colours? 7 minutes and 50 seconds. Let us know in the chat if that's a connection. Oh, penalty though. That is the end of the chance of getting into a B final.
Yeah.
It's a bump and pass. It's +4, even if Everest wins the race.
And that will have been
classified 5th.
That will have been the move in Ashby on Keith Segal, I think, because it was quite a robust exchange. So they head up the hill another time.
So another minute ticks by here, and it's still very close. You know, only 8 seconds covering the top 13 here. Especially if we do get a little bit of rain, or the rain starts to harden. This is all still very much in play.
further down the order. Simon Sharp has just got past
And what's happened?
Brandon.
Is this traffic? Have we hit traffic
No,
already?
66.
Yes, we have.
Is there an issue for Jagjit Singh?
Yeah, that was him just.
Or is that
pulling over
very
to one-
compliant?
Yeah, I think he's just hopping out of the way there. But yeah, we've got traffic already. That's Bryn Alban, who span out the race earlier on. Oh, so the job gets even harder for the leaders then. Close pack, rain coming in, traffic. This is a real test of a driver's skills in this C final. But the top two continuing to do a really good job here. Not fighting, just keeping the pace up. They are stretching out the field at the front of it. So you can see Ramanas Sikauskis has got his own little bit of breathing space. Josh Halloran's got likewise. And if they can just keep doing this, especially now that Everest has a penalty, they should have this top four sewn up.
Key thing to bear in mind, though, only person who probably the only person to know that Dean Everest has a penalty is Dean Everest.
Correct.
And us, and
yes.
you at home and around the circuit. But those on track won't, unless they've memorised everyone's number and recognise everyone's race suit, they probably won't know that. So he's still very much a physical element in this battle on track.
And I think we've both been in that situation in years
Yes.
gone by, where you're that focused on what's going on your little bit of the circuit. You're not concerning yourself with stuff like that.
Yeah, quite frankly, if you see a penalty on the board, you care if it's your number.
Yes.
In the first instance. Yeah, that's definitely an aspect to bear in mind. Fastest lap of the race that last time around, Jed Toole, a 55.0. But Amy Breacher also setting a PB on that one. But there isn't a lot of incentive to break ranks and start battling on this one.
Still too early.
Yeah.
Way too early. Way too risky as well.
We are looking at the 96 of Tim Clark.
We are indeed.
Running in 14th place. Finn Farrow on his tail in the 97. And that is Simon Sharp versus Sam Morris.
I like this as well. We've been talking about iRacing a lot today. This is very iRacing now. Yes, because on timing he's Tim Clark 2.
Yes. That is very iRacing.
Yes. That'll be a Club 100 and BUKC database thing. We'll have had a Tim Clark beforehand. Now we've got Tim Clark 2. Doesn't work with Chris Powell's though, because one of them's a Christopher.
Yes, there you go. That is actually, we've got to say, there are certain regulations about you have to have tested a Club 100 kart since the year, they have to maintain a database of everyone who's driven a Club 100 kart since 2001, I want to say.
Yep.
In order to know that you have successfully completed a test before going into a racing situation. Here we are, though, back at the front.
Now, this is a particularly galling situation for Bryn Alban. He's a lap down, but he's clearly got very, very good pace.
Yes.
And if he'd not spun off, I think would have been good for getting a top four here.
Yeah. Has to be said. So, that spin on the outside of Ashby. 72 there, fending off the 20. That is still Joshua Halloran and Dean Everest. But bear in mind that Dean Everest has a 4-position penalty. This, though, is Keith Segal versus Andrew Bushell for the... I'm just trying to work this out. No, it is, at the moment, it is for the last... The first of those who do not get promoted, unfortunately. As having a look now is Martin Auger. No, sorry, it's Adam Wheeldon who's gained 2 positions there. So here it is, Adam Wheeldon is starting to come into play in this race. A driver who we wouldn't ordinarily expect to be finishing his day in the C final. What can he do in the closing stage of this race? Because he has done what you said was crucial, Andrew. He has worked his way up through the field cleanly and without penalty, as far as I can tell at the moment. So what can the driver of the number 79 do in the last few moments? He's got to get past Keith Segal. Or he and Keith have to work together, either or. But they've got to get themselves onto the back. I don't think he can't do it. It's 5 seconds. 5 seconds is a big gap.
Adam's praying for rain right now, that it falls, and it falls now. And then he can nip through past Keith Segal. Saying that it's just had a change for the lead. Amy Breacher has just gone to the front of the order.
Side by side.
Well, both of them were outside track limits there. Adam Wheeldon is through. So Dean Everest has a penalty, so that takes the number 79 to 5th place. Here is the leading trio. No, it's not the leading trio, because again, that's Albin a lap down.
Bartek
Breacher has taken the lead here.
Barankovsky has just got a black flag, so unfortunately he has to pull into the pit lane and will lose out heavily.
Cone penalty for Luke Dunnett. That's not important in terms of who's going to the B final. Where is Luke at the moment? He's in 10th place. He's getting a decent haul of points. Unfortunately, will drop 1 point because of that cone penalty. 67 seconds to go, so there should be 2 laps unless there's a last one. Oh no, it is the last lap. Apologies, there's a slight timing glitch at our end. So this is the last lap then, as the number 72 is fighting with the number 20 and might not know that number 20 has a penalty. This will be nervous for Joshua Halloran, and side by side for the lead of the race as well, Amy Breacher and Jed Toole. There is a trophy, of course, for winning the C final, so this does have something for it. This is a great scrap, side by side.
Into Wilkins.
Yeah, into Wilkins. Jed Toole trying to get the cut back into Ozies, gets the lead back. Will Amy Breacher get the run down the back straight? Great racing here at Whilton Mill. They are side by side again, down the back straight into the boot. Amy Breacher's back through. Great progress of corners back and forth between these two. Can Amy Breacher hold on? Here comes Ramona Sakauskas on the inside. Amy Breacher wins the C final. A really entertaining race. Jed Toole can't believe it, but at least he gets into the B final. Joshua Halloran gets 4th on the road, so it's Breacher, Sakauskas, Toole and Halloran your top 4 going through to the B final. Dean Everest 5th but has a penalty. Adam Wheeldon, not his day, in 6th place. Martin Augus 7th. Russell Cooper, Luke Dunnett and Keith Segal wrapping out the top 10. Tony Philbin 11th. Andrew Bushell 12th. Peter Sharp in 13th. Tim Clark in 14th. Simon Sharp 15th. Good drive that from Simon from the back of the field. Ross O'Brien 16th. Finn Farrow 17th. Sam Morris, David Hamer and Alex Brandon wrapping out the top 20. Matt Hugo, James Browning, James Dunnett, Liam Rogers, Bryn Albin, top 25. Bryn Albin, unfortunately a lap down, and also had the fastest lap of the race, 54.675. It's an opportunity gone, I think, for the number 16. Jagjit Singh's in 26th, Bartek Barakonsky in 27th, and Matthew Cliff in 28th, a retirement. That is the C final done. Drivers come back into pit lane. 4 of them will be very, very happy. They will proceed on to the B final. No, some of the others are happy as well with some good racing.
I was going to say,
of course, the day.
I hope that's been a really good day's racing for some of our Class 3 drivers there.
That is the end of their racing activities here today. It is raining.
It's raining.
We are told here in
I
the
can
commentary
see.
box,
I can
and
see it
hear
through
it again.
Yeah.
On the microphones. So we'll move on to the B final. That'll be the next race out in circuit here at Whilton Mill. Getting ready then for the B final here for round 2 of the 2021 Club 100 Lightweight Sprints Championship in association with ROTAX. Andrew Ravage has pole position for the B final alongside him on the front row, hoping to proceed through as one of the 2 promotees from this race is Darry Sims. Archie Hobson and Chris Alcock. Wow, Chris Alcock in the B final. That's one I wouldn't have predicted at the start of the day. They are on row number 2. Oscar Lancaster and Jason Bradbury. He's going to need his B final skills again here on a streamed round. He starts on row 3. Thomas Barrett and Bailey Morgan on row 4. Cameron Moss and Tom Dix on row 5. My goodness, there's some big names in this one. Matt Collier and Stephen Westwood are on row number 6. Dan Cohen and Ned Douglas on row 7. Chris Woodger, another big name. Rob Langthorpe, another big name on row number 8. Dom Cliff and Aaron Stillwell. So here's where we're getting into some of our C3 drivers in this one. They're on row number 9. Samuel Essery and Rogerio Mendez are on row 10. Matthew Cockram and Sean Glennon on row 11. And just to confirm, our 4 promotees from the C final. Repechaging through Amy Breacher, Ramna Sakauskas, they'll be on row 12, Jed Toole and Joshua Halloran, wrapping up the 26th entrance in this now rainy B final. There it is, folks. And that's more than drizzle.
It is.
That's rain that wets you.
It is. The question is how long for? I think is the critical one here. Shout out to Matt Hale, who's commented, say, good luck if it rains. It was super slippery in the endurance yesterday.
Yes.
Yes, it was. I agree. I don't know what...
He's a wise man, is Mr. Hale.
I don't know what the rain was playing at. I've written a strongly worded letter, but obviously it hasn't been received yet because it's back again.
So just to go over the housekeeping, top two go through from this race and have spots at the back of the A final grid is what we're playing for here. But as I say, there's some names in this. Some of them C2 drivers, but you know, drivers you'd go, yeah, on a good day they'll make an A final. And then there's some drivers in here really you'd be like, what on earth are they doing in a B final? And for me, the names of Chris Alcock and Tom Dix were not names that I was expecting to be reading on a B final grid at the start of the day.
I'm just going to double check this.
Well, Chris had
he
a
had
bad
penalties,
first race,
didn't he?
Penalties that probably demoted him a long way down the order. And Tom had one race, at least one. He got the race where he was stuck down at Ozie's, wasn't he, when he was off the road? So that's why they're in this race.
It was the 10 positions of penalties Chris Alcock had in his first heat of the day, which saw him finish. He classified 16th in that one.
12 minutes again for this one. Rattling through these races.
It's penultimate one of the day here. Do hope you've enjoyed the coverage. Coming to you courtesy of Alpha Live with commentary from Double Dash Motorsport Media. We look good for a race start.
We do indeed. Thumbs up from the pace kart driver. Can Andrew Rabbage close out this race and get through to the A final? Can Darry Sims do likewise? There's 24 other drivers trying to stop them. Away we go then for the B final. There is no grip at all through the first couple of corners. Rabbage will lead them though. Off and round, half round, no, saved it. Goes the number 93. But Barrett's going to lose a lot of positions as a result of that. Rabbage leads up towards Christmas Corner. Jason Bradbury's had a good start. He's already up to P3 and there's somebody round in the middle. And everyone's trying to find their way through.
I think Amy Breacher just did a 6-car overtake just by being on the outside of the circuit there, to be perfectly honest.
Rye House style, we like that. And down into Ashby then, as Bailey Morgan nearly falls off the road.
Indeed, working and he's out there on the exit apron as well, trying to bring it back on. He's got the job done, but lost out a bit there. And it's Darry Sims who's at the front in all of this, ahead of Andrew Rabbage. Third there is Archie Hobson as they all decide, as often the grass there is Ramona Sakauskas in the background. He's possibly finding that traction on wet grass is poor in these at best. As Jason Bradbury goes down the inside of Archie Hobson here at the boot, so that's a change for third place. And is it still? Yes, it is definitely still raining out there. Penalty for Sam S.r.o for advantage by contact bump and pass. So a bit too robust a manoeuvre there as deemed by the clerk of the course.
So Darry Sims has found his way to the front of the field and has got a 1.4 second lead over Andrew Rabbage. So if the race was to finish right now, those two drivers would be through to the A final.
Yep, it is the 2 promotion spots rather than the 4 that we had in the C final. Jason Bradbury down the inside of Rabbage. And Rabbage, is he going to be able to hold on to it? Yes, manages to find that more abrasive surface. That is wet weather driving panic exemplified. Oh my goodness, can I do this? Can I do this? Oh, finally the kart bites and I get some grip and I can recover and gather myself up, ready for the next one.
Well, Jason Bradbury, we say he's a bit of a B final specialist. We saw him come through the B final both here at Whilton Mill in October last year. Great driving there from one of Sam S.r.o.
Running now, I think, 5th.
Yeah. Maybe higher.
Maybe higher. I'm going to have to check this at the end of this lap, but having a great run there as one of our Class 3 runners.
But yeah, Bradbury, he did it at Bayford Meadows. He did it here in October last year. He has a knack of getting through these B finals. And it is a knack. It's not the easiest thing to do, to keep yourself calm under the pressure.
You can see how far everyone is off of that monster curb now on the inside of the final corner. It's just not, I mean, you don't want to go there under dry conditions, but you don't want to be near it in wet conditions, because that's just not the fastest line through that corner. It's great drive up the hill from Chris Alcock here.
A couple of questions actually coming in on the comments. Do keep your comments coming in, your questions about wet tyres and why slicks. Yes, wets are expensive. They also don't last in the dry.
Yes.
They really, really do die very, very quickly, and that is the reason why we run in slicks, because if you had a situation, if the rain stopped now and they were all on wet tyres, and it dried out, as we've seen across the course of today, it dries out very, very quick. Poor Club 100 have then got 26 sets of wet tyres that have done a whole 4 minutes of actual proper running, and they go in the bin.
The other side to it as well, I think the other big reason worth saying, you've seen how packed a schedule it is. It's just not practical to change tyres. You can't change them on a fleet of, you know, we've got 26 karts out on circuit, and there's a few. You've seen drivers do kart changes and things. They've got several spare in the pit.
The fleet size is about 40.
About 40 karts. You can't change to wet weather tyres on 40 karts. By the time you've done it, your weather might have changed back again. So it's just not practical to do.
Club 100 mechanics are quick. They're not that.
They're not. They can't work miracles.
There's only about 8 of them as well. Anyway, track limit warning for the number 93 of Thomas Barrett, who had that half spin on lap number 1. What are the times looking like? Well, Sims and Bradbury 1:16.1, 1:16.3 last time around. We've got a 3-second lead. Well, it's 3 seconds from Sims to Alcock, but Alcock is the quickest driver out there on circuit, 1:15.967. That's not a fully wet time at the moment.
Yeah, that's in the questions for us, mate. They got it. LG and Kaz.
Yep.
It would be quite a delay. It would. Also, shout out to Jonathan Hall. Great commentary, guys. I'm watching with some tea and scones, and it's been a thoroughly great day. Thank you very much. I think we've... I would love it.
All right, there's only one more race. Power through.
But it's fine. We're glad you're enjoying it. And it's been a great day, hasn't it? Great day of racing here in Club 100, and it's been thoroughly good fun to be streaming it for you all again. So good to know that you're enjoying it out there, folks. As Chris Alcock navigates his way through paddock corner in his pursuit of Jason Bradbury, and more importantly, perhaps from the perspective of Chris Alcock's day of competition, in pursuit of that final
He's
qualification.
just taken a huge amount of time out of Bradbury, a best part of a second, and the gap is now only 1.1. Lots of penalties coming in. What has happened out here? We've got at least 2 takeouts for Joshua Halloran and Sean Glennon.
Yeah.
So I think some drivers have been sent to the Shadow Realm. I think one of them is Rogerio Mendes. And it's not quite all come together for Rogerio today.
So this that we're seeing on screen now, this is about as consequential as it gets in your C and B finals. This is an out-and-out battle in damp conditions for the final promotion spot into the A final. And neither of these drivers, they're both Class 1 drivers, they've got the red number plates on the car. Neither of these drivers want their day to end here.
No.
It's...
Darry Sims as well, I say, racing in C2 because he's been away for a while. But back when he was a regular, won the lightweight sprint championship back when it was an open class, and he didn't race with the Prems and the Clubmans.
Yep.
I want to say that was 2016. No, yes, it was 2016. Correct myself, it was my second season. It was the one where the big one happened.
That's side by side. Here we go, around the outside.
Great move by Chris Alcock.
And a good demonstration of the grip differences in these conditions. And actually, Tom Dix is on the scene as well, isn't he? So this one isn't done yet. So there we go. At the moment, Chris Alcock has been able, like a happy child from a Roald Dahl novel, has got the golden ticket to get up into the A final. Good battle there. Chris Woodger as well, with Rob Langthorpe in hot pursuit as well. I think Chris Woodger's just got past Oscar Lancaster on this lap, actually, so potentially up into 8th place. Good drive as well so far from our
Amy Breacher.
Up to 15th place.
What a move that was on Dan Cohen coming off
And she's
Osiers.
one of our promotees from the C final,
Yep.
having won that one. So really good drive up to 15th place so far. It is confirmed. Chris Woodger did get up to 8th place.
It's actually quite a good day to progress from
Oh,
a C to a B. Yes,
moment for Bailey Morgan.
Bailey Morgan is. I hope he can get that stopped. And that's how wet the grass is, ladies and gentlemen. That wasn't Bailey not getting on the brakes. That is just. It is so moist out there. If you go off at speed, you don't stop.
Was there any contact with? He was running alongside Jed Toole there, and was there any contact? Very odd incident there, by the looks of it to me. Not sure about that one. We're looking here at Ramona Sakauskas against Amy Breacher, and Breacher just took the position back off of him there. And here is Chris Woodger trying down the inside of Archie Hobson, which will be for 5th place, I believe, if he can make it stick. Bailey Morgan getting going again, I think, there.
Just having another look back at it on our internal monitor. Just wondering if he snatched a break, or maybe, yeah, it was something in the braking phase as he was sandwiched between there. But yeah, it's not been the day Bailey would have wanted.
Cone penalty for Thomas Barrett. One position to be docked from wherever he finishes on the road. This is a good fight here at the front of the field, though, because they've closed in on Darry Sims, Andrew.
Yeah, and so Tom Dix has come out of nowhere. He's kind of similar to Steve Hicks earlier in one of the heats, has snuck up here. And all of a sudden, you've got the two drivers who in previous rounds have been fighting for race wins, and they're closing in on Rogerio Mendez, who's a lap down, has been shown the blue flag. Through goes Darry Sims, and Rogerio gets out of the way, but up the inside, here comes Alcock going for the lead of the race. He's got it. Great move by Chris Alcock through to the lead, but Darry Sims is going to fight this one, and Tom Dix is in there as well, so it's two from these three, and they're three big hitters at the front of this field.
Absolutely. Any two from these three could go through, and all three of them will feel that on pace they would ordinarily expect to get up into the A final as Tom Dix goes for it. They're almost three wide coming off of Christmas corner there, but it stays as they were. Chris Alcock in the lead, ahead of Sims and then Dix. Dix is looking for an opportunity into Ashby there, but it's just not on there. Jason Bradbury is some 3 seconds off the back of this, with Chris Woodger a further 3 seconds back, so it takes something quite incredible at the moment for them to come into play. But everything we talk about sprint racing, bide your time. No. This is the time to fight. Yep. This is the time to battle. If you're Tom Dix, your day ends here if you cannot execute a pass. And actually, they've allowed Chris Alcock to just pull out a bit of breathing space here at the front of this one with 2 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, this is really good from Chris Alcock. He's punched in a big lap there. 59.351. He's pulled out 6/10 over these two drivers, and here comes Tom Dix. It's very, very close. He's on the curb as they're going up the hill and into Christmas corner. Can Tom Dix get the move done? Yes, he can. Oh, they've both gone out wide. Very, very close. Both of them nearly in the grass, but Tom Dix is through.
Something's happened to Chris Woodger on that last lap, Andrew. He dropped down 8 positions there as Tom Dix is feeling the need to defend heavily, and well he might. Bit of an awkward thing for Rogerio here, because he's like, well, I'm on pace compared to you guys squabbling. Do I unlap myself? I wouldn't recommend it. I would not recommend it, but I would be savvy to Jason Bradbury, who's coming up behind him and is closing in on this battle quite a rate of knots. What about this corner? Is there anything on this time? There'll be one more lap after this one for Darry Sims to try and regain his ticket to the A final.
Jason Bradbury's going to be doing his best Sebastian Vettel impression at the moment, calling for those blue flags. We're on the last lap now. Chris Alcock has a 2-second lead. He's gone, he's clear. He just needs to get round one more lap and he's in the A final. But who's going to join him? Is it going to be Tom Dix? Is it going to be Darry Sims? Is it going to be Jason Bradbury? Because he's still not that far behind. Rogerio Mendez still in the middle though. I don't think he's actually received any blue flags, so I'm not going to blame him for not getting out of the way. There goes Alcock. There goes Dix. Sims still there in 3rd place. Just trying to see back through. I don't think we've got any penalties coming into play amongst this top 3. And Bradbury, unfortunately, don't think he's going to get the opportunity to attack Sims or Dix here.
I don't know
well, it started wet this race, and it's dried out, and it was all about who could turn on in the conditions as they changed. Chris Alcock was that driver, and he takes the win in the B final, a big win. Tom Dix joins him with a great drive through the field. Darius Sims, your heart's got to go out to him. He finishes in P3. Jason Bradbury gave it a good go in P4. Samuel Essery has a penalty but finishes high enough, which means he will be the C3 winner here at Whilton Mill today. Very impressive drive to 5th there on the road. Oscar Lancaster 6th, Archie Hobson 7th, Andrew Ravage in 8th, Dom Cliff in 9th, Jed Toole in 10th, and also the fastest lap of the race on a 56.108 on the last lap. All good results for those drivers. Rob Langthorpe and Chris Woodger 11th and 12th, Dan Cohen in 13th, Ned Douglas 14th. Really good drive from Amy Breacher, who gets 2nd in C3 from the C final.
Brilliant effort.
Fantastic stuff. Ramanas Sakauskas in 16th. Stephen Westwood was next in 17th. Sean Glennon holds on to 3rd place, just beating Matthew Cockram there to that position. Thomas Barrett in 20th. Now we're into the drivers who all had problems of some form or other in that race. Bailey Morgan 21st, Joshua Hallen 22nd, Cameron Moss, Matt Collier, Aaron Stilwell and Rogerio Mendes wrapping out the 26 runners in that one. And the pace cart is bringing back a former cone that is no longer in service, shall we say.
I am sorry to report that we only have one more race left in the day, in the weekend here at Club 100 Round 2 at Whilton Mill, but it is the feature race. It is the A final coming up next for our lightweights here at Whilton Mill.
A final time here at Whilton Mill. You're watching live coverage of the 2021 Club 100 Lightweight Sprints Championship. Here is your grid. Jack O'Neill has pole position for the 2nd round in a row. Alongside him on the front row of the grid is Rihanna Percox. Peter Knight is top C2 runner and starts this race from the 2nd row of the grid alongside the reigning champion Edward Bars. Dan Healy and Daz Teal will be looking for good results there from the 3rd row of the grid. Steve Hicks and Josh Adams start from the 4th row of the grid. They both could be factors in this A final. Dan Seeger, who's had a really solid day so far, starts this one on the 5th row of the grid alongside Mike Coppin. Hussein Rashid and Christopher Powell are on row number 6. Alistair Irvine started the day very well, won the very first heat of the day alongside Andrew Ward on the 7th row of the grid. Adrian Mertens and Jonah Barker on row 8. James Martin and James Wattis on row number 9. And then Pietro Pagano and Callum Brule wrap out the top 20. Ashley White and Garrett Berry are starting this race from row 11. Steph Theodori and Reese Pope were the last automatic qualifiers through to this A final on the 12th row of the grid. And our 2 promotees confirmed from the B final are Chris Alcock and Tom Dix. They'll start on row 13.
You want to pick a winner out of those that grid, mate? Because
Wow.
I don't want to.
and still with some, changeable conditions.
Yep, it's now no longer raining. Sun is beaming. I almost feel like bizarrely in a comms box with where we're so tucked away. I feel like putting my sunglasses on, mate.
Yeah.
It's got really quite bright in here right now, and that is because the sun is battling through the clouds to try and dry this circuit out.
I know it's sounding a little bit of a cop out. Jack O'Neill's on some really strong form. I struggle to think of another time in my years watching Jack O'Neill where I think he's raced better.
No, I know what you mean. But
and he's had the mix of conditions across the course of the weekend.
That's true. That is very true. But also, first race where we've really seen Rihanna Percox not have to work her way through the traffic before challenging the lead. So how's her pace going to be in clean air? And you can never count out Ed Bars and Peter Knight.
Well,
so much conversation.
Rogerio Mendes is punting for Peter Knight here.
Yep. Matt Hale
and he nearly did it here last year, of course.
Yeah, Matt Hale, Jack O'Neill on for the triple, says he.
I'm just going to remind myself what the final result was of the sprints round. It wasn't the very final round of the year. It was earlier in there. It is. It was round 7 that we streamed last time. Yeah, Dan Healy took the win.
Who starts on row 3.
Starts on row 3. Peter Knight was second on that day. Ed Bars was third. Steve Hicks was fourth. All of them were a factor in it because those 4 were covered by 0.6 of a second on that day back in October 2020.
Yep.
Not too dissimilar conditions. It was cold that day, so there wasn't a lot of grip around. As I say, yeah, we've got the likes of Jack O'Neill. His name I didn't read out in that result from October. Rihanna wasn't in the mix on that one. Practice laps going on at the moment, so if you're wondering why there's no timing on the screen or we're not commentating in full gusto, this is just practice laps at the moment. And the C2 battle, I think, is going to be interesting as well. You've got a good group of C2 drivers there from the 5th row of the grid downwards. So Dan Seeger, Hussein Rashid, Alistair Irvin, they're all going to be fighting over potential trophies today.
Notably, we're almost back down to standard dry times, I'd say here, mate.
Yeah, 55s coming in at the moment. So we have seen 53s at points across the day. We've got a couple of drivers changing their karts. Jack O'Neill is one of them.
Is that Alice? No, I see long enough.
Hello to Jamie Henderson, who's cheering on both Ed Bars and Dan Healy. Both of them for the win. Unfortunately, Jamie, they both can't win.
It is Alistair Irvin who did spot.
Daz Teal as well in there, going for a kart change.
The thing is, whilst we're on dry lap times, for certain parts of the circuit, if you're on the grass, it's wet.
Yes.
If you're significantly offline through turn 1 and 2, saying, oh, I don't know, at the start of a race when you all go side by side, it's wet. So, yeah, interesting stuff here. And all those drivers doing the kart change, we spoke earlier today about the risks that you're taking. You don't get a chance to do what these drivers are doing, i.e. run your kart in, get everything up to temperature. You don't have the opportunity to do that, so it's always a risk as Alistair Irvin comes out right in front of former Warwick stablemate Callum Brule.
And if my memory serves me correctly, Steve Alvarez-Brown tried this in that round in October, did a kart change, and it didn't work out for him. I say it is always a bit of a risk going out with a cold kart. Maybe a little bit more to your suiting as a driver, but you just don't know until you're underway.
Callum Brule tipped for victory by David Whitehouse.
That's not trying to circumnavigate the commentator's camera person's curse, is it?
Has anyone ever won a round from 20th on the grid? That would be something. We're going to go around again.
We are indeed.
Everyone doing their best dance moves in the kart.
Steve Hicks is on the scene now. There he is, number 21.
Still got the rain suit on, interestingly. Just in case. Plenty of water still in that cattle grid curve off to the right of your shot as we're looking at it. Drivers left as they come off the final corner. There's plenty of water in that. So if someone goes wide onto that, they're going to kick all sorts of stuff up and onto the circuit potentially.
I know we always say this about drivers who've been promoted through, but I am intrigued to see how far Chris Alcock and Tom Dix can get through this field.
Absolutely.
Because I think there was a factor in the B final that the C finalists that got through obviously knew what the conditions were going to be before they set off. Maybe a little bit less of that effect in this race because everybody's had at least 3 or 4 laps to get themselves acclimatised. But you know, Chris Alcock and Tom Dix are not slow drivers, as we've seen. That's why they're in this A final. Could they get top 15? Potentially could get top 15 from here. We'll wait and see on that one. Pace kart driver telling drivers just to space out there. He's not saying how big.
Don't you get
how big is my head? That will have been a call from race control to say there's some drivers towards the back unable to get through because some drivers at the front are weaving. I think we are now good to go. Hand up from thumbs up from Carson. So here we go. A final time here at Whilton Mill. This circuit has a tendency of giving us some absolute crackers in A finals over the years. Is this going to be another one? Jack O'Neill, number 99, in the black and green suit, will take us from pole position. Rihanna Percox alongside on the front row. Watch those lights. 12 minutes on the clock. They're red, they're green. We're racing here at Whilton Mill. Very good start from those on the pole side of the grid. Jack O'Neill gets an absolute flyer. Peter Knight follows him through, and I think Dan Healy got a good start there as well. Yes, he did. So look at Steve Hicks coming up from the fourth row of the grid. He's already up to P4, going round the outside of Rihanna Percox. What a start that is from, as we say, the Whilton Mill specialist. Ed Bars is fighting in there alongside Daz Teal. As there's a few drivers off towards the back of the field, and there's more collisions going down into Ashby Corner. And are we good for a start? Rihanna Percox has been absolutely mugged and is down to about 7th position. Mike Coppin's not had a good start either. He's been shuffled back. There's a penalty for Daz Teal. Already a bumpered pass for number 6, but Jack O'Neill is out front with the youngster Peter Knight right on his rear axle.
Yeah, it was never going to be a full start, Andrew. We'd already passed the last. There's a post where they deemed that it's after that we will not call a full start. And they'd already gone past it by that point. Who's dropping down the order?
Alistair Irvin's dropping down.
Adrian Mertens was involved. Pietro Pagano, Ashley White.
Healy on the move, having a look there. No, pulls out of it. As we say, won the sprints round here at Whilton Mill in October, the last one that we streamed at this circuit. So he knows how to get around this place. But it's this top 4. And Howard, I'm getting those feelings again. This is feeling like BUKC Super Final. You've got a top 4 out front here who should just work together at this stage.
BUKC Super Final, our Super Final Championship that we had a couple of years ago. One round of which was the first round of which was around Whilton Mill. I want to say on that day it was Steve Hicks who came away with the spoils. And isn't he in this fight now? They're in 4th place in the number 21 kart, just behind Dan Healy.
Rihanna Percox has got back through past Daz Teal for 5th place, but has got a lot of work to do. She's a 2.5 seconds off the back of this quartet. Healy has another look. Is he going to go for the move down the inside? He is going to go for the move down the inside, side by side with Peter Knight. Still side by side as they go through Boxing Day, and here comes Hicks. Nips through, gets 3rd place. Classic Steve Hicks, reading the situation perfectly. But what has that done, Howard? It's allowed Jack O'Neill a bit of a gap here.
And this is my thing, that for me, even though it's frantic, they can't battle too much. Jack O'Neill is a real threat at the moment with the form that he is in. If you all battle over 2nd place, you're losing him. You are going to let him get on up the road. And I think, really, unless Steve Hicks really feels that he's got something in hand over Peter Knight, they would do well to work together. He's trying to tuck under there into the last sector, but he can't make it stick. It's still Jack O'Neill who leads ahead now of Peter Knight, Steve Hicks, Dan Healy, and Rihanna Percox in 5th. Ed Bars has got past Daz Teal on that lap as well, up in 6th place. Look at the drive that Hicks has up the hill. He's surely going to have a go at 2nd place down into the inside of Christmas Corner. Yes, he is. And look at Dan Healy as well. That was a really bold turn in there from him. Had great grip. We are so definitely into dry conditions right now. And he's up to 3rd place. And Rihanna Percox has got onto this down the inside, arrives on the scene, and immediately down the inside of Ashby Corner up into 4th place now. Brilliant moves there in that sequence of corners.
This is a reinvigorated Rihanna Percox that's, I'm going to say it, faster than I've ever seen her drive before. Has taken a huge step up since graduating from the BUKC and last season. And she's charged onto the back here and is not out of this at all. But there is Steve Hicks. He gave the point to Dan Healy to work as a duo. They're going to be joined, as I say, by Rihanna Percox and Peter Knight. They need to work together to close down Jack O'Neill. And there's still Ed Bars as well in 6th place, the reigning champion. He's on the move.
Yeah, absolutely. James Martin, Jonah Barker just past Hussein Rashid for 11th and 12th respectively. Some good battles going on throughout the field. But this is key, Andrew. They've had their few battles. They now really need to work and try and see if they have an answer to Jack O'Neill's pace out front. Because he's the fastest lap of the race at the moment with Mike Coppin at 54.6. He's the only other driver. Chris Alcock as well. Are the only other 2 other drivers other than Jack O'Neill, our race leader, to dip below the 55-second mark. So these drivers have to work together now. Steve Hicks, Dan Healy, Rihanna Percox, and Peter Knight, if they can stay with them. All need to work together. Ed Bars coming up onto the back of this. He wants a better finish than last time out at Clay Pigeon, where he finished 5th. Our reigning champion does need something better than 5th if he's going to really have a successful campaign defending his title. Early doors yet in the championship, let's not get silly, but he needs to start getting those podiums.
I'm going to say something that might surprise you, but I'm 95% sure is true. Steve Hicks has never won a Club 100 Sprints A final. I know, that sounds remarkable.
What?
He's won Super Finals. We've seen that in the Super Final Championship. We've seen it in the BUKC Drivers. But he's never won one of these Sprints finals. He's come second and third many, many times. I remember that because the first Super Final victory that he had here at Wilton Mill.
Yes.
What a big monster curb hop.
He's got to be careful there.
Hicksy, be careful. And he knows that. He had his hand up there.
Yeah.
When he won the 2019 Super Final here at Wilton Mill, and he qualified through from like finishing third or fourth in the lightweight final, he said it was the first time he'd ever won a sprint final in Club 100, and it's still the only time he's ever won a sprints final in Club 100. But I say that was in the Super Final Championship, not the lightweights championship. Yes. He's still winless in this one.
Great little battle going on in the back of shot as well. Whilst we're fascinated, of course, by these top 6 karts, Daz Teal leads Josh Adams, Dan Seeger, Mike Coppin and James Martin in a fantastic battle for 6th, so keep an eye out for that on your timing towers, your timing screens, and further down the order if you're here at the circuit.
Steve Hicks has had the monster curb penalty.
Yes.
Now, for those of you watching the heavyweights,
the warning.
This is exactly the same as what Joe Holmes had. It's 1 strike and you're out. So it's 2 strikes and you're out. So he's had his warning. He cannot touch that curb again for the rest of these 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Cone penalty for Tom Dix.
But he was a 10th of a second faster than Jack O'Neill on that last lap. He is closing the gap to Jack O'Neill. They do have a response if they can keep this up. Whether it's enough and whether it's enough overspeed to get by once they catch him is another thing. Catching is one thing, passing is another, as the old adage goes. But this is fantastic stuff.
Tom Dix is having an unbelievable race. He's up to 14th place from the back of the grid.
Yeah.
So, and we said, could someone from the B final get top 15? The answer was yes. And the driver, as I say, is the number 92. 5 minutes of this one to go. Still can't call this one. There is Jack O'Neill out front. We mentioned it in the heavyweights earlier. There is a little bit of a slipstream effect around here. Not as big as a place, say, like Clay Pitchin.
Another 10th gone. Another 10th taken out of the lead on that one. You can see how Hicks is just getting visibly that little bit closer. He's in the slipstream on the way up the hill, and Dan Healy doing exactly what he needs to do. He doesn't want to upset the momentum that he and Hicks have. He just wants to keep on. Go on, Steve. You keep catching. I'll go with you. And it's then that I'll start to worry about where I'm going to pounce.
Multiple pieces of contact penalty for Steph Theodoru. Unfortunately, he's down in 21st position. Steve Hicks continuing to close in. He is so consistent. As I say, it is a surprise when we say that he hasn't won a lightweight sprint A final in his time in Club 100. He's always in the mix. Is that duck going to be broken today?
Is it ever, or is it just
ever,
this format?
Yeah. No, it's ever.
Okay. It's not like since we've gone to the...
No, the super final victory was the first big final that he'd ever won in a Club 100.
A quarter of a second taken out of him.
And he really is closing now. And here the defensive starts from Jack O'Neill. Is he going to try and do the defensive drive from 3.5 minutes out? Track limit warning for the number 18 of Ashley White. Nearly 3 wide as they go down into Ashby. Careful, chaps. Oh, this is tense, isn't it?
And 4th, 5th and 6th, Percox, Knight and Bars as well. They can see this ahead of them. They're like, let's not fight now. Let's get on to this. And they're going to. They're going to. In fact, they're practically there. Percox now, you can see, catching up onto the back of the number 2, Dan Healy kart. And again, if you're Healy, this is an awkward one because you don't want to suddenly undo the work that you and Hicks have done by putting a, And look at this, nose to tail, the top 6. O'Neill, Hicks, Healy, Percox, Knight and Bars. Any of this 6 could win this race. This is fantastic stuff here in the dire moments of Whilton Mill.
And just keep an eye on Ed Bars because he is so wise with all of this. He's not made any moves yet. He's just sitting at the back of this pack and was just waiting to pick him off as Percox tried to go around the outside of Healy for 3rd place. She's got it. What an unbelievable overtake that was from Rihanna Percox. O'Neill defensive down into Ashby again. Still Hicks there in 2nd place.
Ed Bars past Peter Knight, Andrew through Ashby as well. Good little move there. Peter Knight just got checked up a little bit behind Dan Healy as he tried to gather it up again after the Percox overtake, and it allowed Ed Bars through.
2.5 minutes to go. Wilton Mill is serving up another classic, and Jack O'Neill is giving Steve Hicks the death stare there.
Is he going to look ahead of him? That's I've never seen anyone look behind him for so long.
Mr. O'Neill.
I can't do that. I start listing to the right or left if I do that. Here they come. onto another lap. Hicks still in the wheel tracks of Jack O'Neill. Can he get a run up the hill this time?
He's got a bit of a gap as well to Percox behind. Big defensive move from O'Neill. And it's a strong one. Nothing Hicks can do about that. That is one of the things I love about this circuit. You can defend a lead around here. Produces some fantastic racing. O'Neill defensive again. Percox right on the rear bumper. Yeah, she's very good on the brakes.
I almost thought she was going to have a look into Wilkins then. Is there an opportunity into Osiers? Jack O'Neill's shortly going to have to defend. Yes, he is. Is there a switchback opportunity onto the back straight that allows Hicks to carry more speed on? Again, O'Neill is driving by looking behind him, but he's positioning the car beautifully so far, Andrew, to deter any effort here. Does Hicks get a switchback here? He does, but he can't tuck his nose under at the moment.
2 more laps. 2 more laps here in the Lightweight Sprint A final for Club 100 2021 at Whilton Mill. Can Jack O'Neill hold on for another minute and a half? It would be his second A final victory of the season, having taken round 1 at Clay Pigeon a few weeks ago. Steve Hicks, Rihanna Percox, Dan Healy now trying to go round the outside of Rihanna Percox, and he's going to have the inside for Boxing Day. He's got it.
Returns
and
the
through
favour.
goes Ed Bars and Peter Knight as well. Percox shuffled down to 6th place. But now Dan Healy down the inside of Steve Hicks, pushing him wide, has got through and into 2nd place. Ed Bars now up to 3rd place. Here he comes, the reigning champion. This is what I thought he might do. There's still 1 more lap and still Jack O'Neill leads.
Brilliant stuff there. Dan Healy returning the favour, getting past in exactly the same manner as Percox, but Percox I think has recovered a little bit as well as she got by on Hicks now in the background. Have to see as they come round. Yes, she has. So Hicks is down to 6th because Peter Knight, and look at this, everyone else has arrived as well. Josh Adams, Mike Coppin, Daz Till, James Martin are all part of this train as we're on the last lap of the weekend.
Can Jack O'Neill make it 2 out of 2 in the lightweight sprints? Dan Healy, can he take another A final win in a streamed round? Tries to do the dummy. Jack O'Neill defends. He's got through 1 overtaking opportunity. That's Christmas done. Next one is Ashby. He's going to go to the inside again. Ed Bars looking to the outside now, trying to go round the outside. Rihanna Percox side by side as they come off of Ashby corner. This is an unbelievable race once again here in Club 100. Still Jack O'Neill leads it. He's got to chop down. He does chop down. There's just a couple more opportunities for this whole pack to get past Jack O'Neill. He's defending again into the boot. He's going to do it, surely. That's the initial entry done. Just tow it round the toe of the boot. Jack O'Neill is going to take one of the most unbelievable victories I've ever seen from him. Jack O'Neill wins at Whilton Mill. Dan Healy 2nd, Ed Bars 3rd, Rihanna Percox 4th, Peter Knight takes C2 at 5th overall. Steve Hicks is 4th. There's a big wide moment for Pietro Pagano on the last corner. Josh Adams 7th, Mike Coppin 8th, Daz Teal 9th, James Martin 10th. The top 10, Howard, is covered by 1.852 seconds. My goodness.
That was amazing. That was an amazing way to finish off the weekend. That is, gosh, it's only the first stream round. We can't have seen Race of the Year already, can we? That was absolutely incredible stuff. And I tell you something now, if Jack O'Neill goes on to win this championship, it's because of his ability to handle that situation and win on a day like that.
And cleanly as well. Good sportsmanship there between O'Neill and Hicks. Let's just go through the rest of the results because there's other key results that we need to cover. Dan Seeger 11th, that's 2nd in C2. Hussein Rashid 12th, 3rd in C2. Jonah Barker 13th, Tom Dix 14th. What a drive that is from the B final. 15th Alistair Irvin, 16th Christopher Powell, 17th for James Wattis, 18th Steph Theodorou, 19th for winner of the B final Chris Alcock. Ashley White in 20th place. Garrett Berry 21st, Reese Pope 22nd, Pietro Pagano 23rd, lost positions on the last lap. Callum Brule 24th, Andrew Ward, his bad luck in A finals, particularly streamed A finals, continues 25th, and it was a big loss on the last lap as well with a 61-second lap. Adrian Mertens finished in 26th place.
I'm going to say, you were talking about how the top 10 separated by about 1.8 seconds. Like 10 seconds separated the top 16.
Yeah.
It's so close throughout the whole field. And with the exception of Mertens fell off the back a bit, we saw the spin near the beginning that put him some 30 seconds back. Otherwise, everyone covered by less than 18 seconds. That is an incredible A final.
Thank you for all your comments and your support. Just read through some of them. Greg Smith says, what a race. Skin Dog, what an exciting race. Jonathan Hall, great defending. Bacon sums it up brilliantly. Now this is why I love racing. Luke Battersby, Batters Racing Company, that was a damn good race. Epic defending by Jack. And as I say, to do that, we've seen several drivers try and do that, Howard, over the years, do what I like to call the Gandalf. I can't remember many better than what we've just seen there from Jack O'Neill. Sometimes, you see people try and defend it out from 4 or 5 minutes, and they lose it in the last lap or the last two.
Yes.
But that was a stupendous show from Jack O'Neill.
That was superb stuff, mate. You and I have covered a lot of races around this Whilton Mill circuit, and that one was right up there for me. That was a fantastic display right there from some of the best. And we haven't got a super final style format here, so we haven't got the creme de la creme of the heavyweights that we had this morning, but that was absolutely superb.
Yeah.
From some of the best Club 100 drivers in the country, no doubt about it. And when I say best Club 100 drivers, I do basically say some of the best kart drivers in the country right now. That was absolutely fantastic, and thank you everybody for the interaction today. And it's been great to have you along for it. We should talk a little bit about what's happening next in the world of Club 100. Let's talk about the physical on-track stuff. Maybe before talking about the esports. The next round of this championship is going to be at Lyd. That's on the 13th of June, and then it's going to be at Glannygord Park on the 4th of July. And then
I'm just going to cut in as well with my standard. If you haven't booked in for Glannygords yet and you've never driven Glannygords yet, please, and you're thinking, oh, it's a bit far. Oh, it's crossing that Welsh border. Stop it. Stop that now. Book www.club100.co.uk.
Yes.
Glannygords, most underrated circuit in the country for me. Absolutely fantastic. Please, please, please come out and support that round.
Gorgeous part of the world as well, has to be said. Rye House, round 5 on the 11th of July. That is when we are next streaming one of these. If you've enjoyed the stream, we are next. Hey, there's plenty of other things that are being streamed between now and then, but the next one of this Club 100 Sprint Championship being streamed is on the 11th of July for Rye House. So make sure you're with us for that. Ella Park is on the 1st of August for round 6. Bayford Meadows, round 7 on the 12th of September. We are also streaming that one, so be with us for that. Put that 12th of September in your diaries. Llandau, I'm going to shove the other track, because I'm one of those, I'm unusual.
You are the Llandau lover.
I am the Llandau lover. So round 8 at Llandau on the 19th of September. I'm looking forward to that one. As many people are. It's just, I'm the Southern Wales circuit advocate, as much as I like GYG as well. Whilton Mill, we're back here on the 10th of October. Rye House on the 31st of October. And those two, Whilton Mill, when we're next here in October, and Rye House, will be streaming both of those. And Bayford Meadows as well on the 14th of November, at the moment scheduled to be a live stream round as well. I'm quite excited about the fact that we are streaming the last 3 rounds of the championship for the first time ever.
Yes.
As it is currently scheduled, and goodness knows there's been plenty of things changing over the last 18 months or so bear with us, but at the moment the plan is that we're going to be streaming the last 3 rounds of the championship. So if this wasn't exciting enough for you, imagine some championship fights.
A few more comments. Thank you. Just Tim Hill, because I love this one. Great, guys. Fantastic job commentating. Great coverage as usual. Even my wife watched it live. Let me tell you, that is something. Fantastic. Coming up on Alpha Live next weekend, British Mini Bikes, British Kart Championships, Whilton Mill Kart Club, which has DDMM involvement here on Sunday, and Teesside Sprint Series as well. Do make sure you're subscribed for all of those. As I say, if you've enjoyed the commentary, we're Double Dash Motorsport Media, at Double Dash MM on Instagram and Twitter, at Double Dash Motorsport Media on YouTube and Facebook. Tuesday night, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. GT Sports Series for Club 100 drivers. Wednesday night, 7:15 p.m. the iRacing Series for Club 100 and ABkC drivers. And I think that pretty much wraps us up here for Whilton Mill.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, everybody, for your continued support. Do hope you've enjoyed the racing today. This has been an Alpha Live production for Club 100 Racing Limited. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We will see you in July at Rye House. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.